It's rough to manage.
All right, Farrah, it says that we are live on YouTube. Can you go check it? Thank you guys for coming in. I know, you know, you guys got other stuff that you got to be doing tonight later or whatever, but I appreciate you guys coming in for a little while anyway.
I'm still in my car. I pulled up, I parked, and I realized I hadn't checked my emails all day, so I had to confirm bookings and decline and put things in my calendar, or I'm like, if I get out and go in the house, I'm going to forget. It's not going to happen. And I have to pee, so that means when I stand up, I'm going to have to move fast.
Isn't that something? That's a thing that comes with age, for sure.
Oh my God, I'm up until I am ready to go.
Yep, for sure. Thank
100%.
you. Thank you, Farrah. Carla was like, do you guys stream anywhere else where I can watch it after? And I'm like, actually, yes, we started streaming to YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm glad that we can do this, especially when we're going to have, you know, interviews on. You want to do your welcome message, and then we'll get into the news real quick, because we're Antonis Christodoulou, and he's probably going to correct me on that. It will be here at 8:15. So we're just going to go through the news.
Here I am in my car, live from my car. It is Friends with Political Benefits. I am parked. I am not driving TikTok. I will be getting out soon, but it's raining out there and I got to pee. So welcome to Friends with Political Benefits. I am Stacy, and this is my beautiful co-host, my genius, beautiful co-host, Lisa. And we are here bringing you all the news of the day and to talk to progressive candidates that are running for office, grassroots candidates that are really doing a great job of getting the message out. And we are here to give them a little alley-oop, a little assist in spreading the news, spreading their message and their hope for our future, because all hope is not lost, folks. If you're feeling like you're at the end of a rope, tie a knot and hold on tight. Okay, so we're going to get started. Lisa, you say who we are hosting tonight again.
So it is Antonis Christodoulou from California District 33. He is trying to unseat Democratic Rep Pete Aguilar. So Pete Aguilar, who is an you know, all the way around and sideways asshole, like a real one. He keeps you know, he is like, it's like he's the poster child of establishment Democrats, like just, you know, him going right when you look it up in the encyclopedia or whatever, that's establishment Democrat all the way. If you want to know what an establishment Democrat looks like, it's Pete Aguilar. Come here. I don't know why you're pouting.
Hi, Jojo. So yeah, we just want to invite everybody to come in, do all the good things. We're, you know, it's just a few of us in here, but I'm going to do my best to pop in as I'm speaking and we're talking about, you know, with the candidate, to give mod announcements, because I realize like we're not doing that. And I think that we can get so engrossed in the content and what's happening that we forget to tap sometimes. So I'll be trying to remember to do mod announcements. Don't forget to put your questions in the chat if you have questions that you want us to ask the candidate. So yeah, Lisa's going to give us a little briefing on the news of the moment while we're waiting for the candidate to show up, and we get started with that. So I will wait for a few more of us to get in to give the rules of engagement, because I know everybody here already knows.
Yeah, that's fine. We will get started. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. The Democrats have released the autopsy.
Yes. So I'm going to mute myself and take myself off camera while I get in the house, so I don't make lots of noise and distract. Okay.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, we have been waiting for this, guys, and true to form, just like I said they were going to do, they released this thing right before a holiday weekend when they know people are busy, people are traveling, all the things. Jonah is just going off right here off camera. If you hear like weird things, he is on my mic stand and he is just going off. Anyway, it's not me doing weird stuff. So they released it. Why do they call it an autopsy? Or a postmortem, right? Both of those things mean that you are examining a unalived body, right? So think about that, right? So think about what that means. They usually do it when they lose. So when they lose a big presidential election, and the way that they lost it, the way Democrats lost it, where they lost the presidency, they lost the House, and they lost the Senate. It's like they do a postmortem. They do this report saying why they lost and why they lost so completely horribly, right? And so that's why it's called an autopsy. Very good question, Rachel. Very good question. Okay. Yeah, guys, do the tap thing and, you know, send a couple coins to the gift goal if you have it. I know we're all like brokered in a joke. Everybody's on the struggle bus, but if you got a couple coins you can spare, really appreciate it for the algorithm. Anyhow, so yeah, so the Democratic committee chair, Ken Martin, said that they were releasing it for full transparency. No clue as to why full transparency could not have been had almost a year ago when they first had this report. But the document opens, the report says, with the DNC completely disavowing the report. It says the report says the leaders took the awkward position of asserting that the report itself does not meet their standards. Thank you for the fist bumps, Days. The report was released for full transparency, according to Ken Martin, who has faced months of anger over his earlier decision to withhold it. But the document, described by party officials as a draft, opens with the DNC disavowing its contents and stating that it cannot independently verify the claims presented. They're so weird. While it might be tempting for Democrats to point to narrow margins of defeat for Kamala Harris and down ballot candidates and argue they need to tweak rather than overhaul their approach, the report says this denialist thinking prevents the party from seeking real accountability and making necessary changes. The report, which was prepared by Democratic strategist Paul Rivera, argues that the White House under President Joe Biden did not do enough to set Harris up for political success. The White House did not position or prepare the vice president. Had the White House explored and evaluated ways to leverage Kamala Harris earlier in the administration, perhaps it would have improved the president's standing. And it certainly could have helped prepare her to lead the ticket. The White House told the DNC to do polling ahead of the 2022 midterms to assess how then First Lady Jill Biden could support her husband, but no such polling was done to support Harris as vice president, the report says. That is disgusting. That is it's disgusting. That they actually spent money to do polling on how Jill Biden could support her husband, but not how Kamala Harris could support the ticket and support the Democratic Party when she was the vice president, the first Black woman to be vice president. The autopsy also says Democrats did not attack Trump forcefully enough, suggesting many in the party believe Trump's negatives were so baked in that negative advertising would have been of limited use. Future Forward, a super PAC supporting Harris, focused on making an economic case for Harris because the issue was the top concern for voters. But Harris still lost the economic argument. Pollsters told Harris's campaign leadership that the data suggested even measured breaks with then President Biden would help her politically, but saw little movement on that front. The committee's initial decision to withhold the report was driven in part by Martin's desire to avoid reigniting the finger pointing that consumed the party after the 2024 loss. Democrats have been notching a string of wins at the ballot box since then. It was. So for them to say that they didn't go at Trump forcefully enough, right? I think that her making a case for herself and not against Trump was the move. But holding back the report caused consternation within the Democratic establishment, prompting some to question Martin's leadership. And the messy process of drafting and releasing the document has been embarrassing as the party tries to page on 2024 and move on to winning races later this year. Prominent Democrats ventured prominent Democrats vented Thursday that the report was mishandled, complaining about both its quality and the months-long back and forth over whether to share it. Some went further to call for Martin's resignation as DNC chair. I second that. Dan Pfeiffer, a political commentator and former top advisor. Did you have a question, Stace?
No, I just said, yes, he needs to go.
He needs, absolutely. He said, Martin is not the right person to lead the DNC at this time. Danielle Butterfield, the executive director of Priorities USA, a progressive super PAC, said Martin is preventing us from moving forward. I couldn't agree more. It's pretty damning that instead of actually talking about the substance of the report, we're just talking about whether or not Ken Martin should resign, Butterfield said. Martin defended the decision to keep the report private last year in a statement to the Washington Post. Here's our North Star, he says. Does this help us win? If the answer is no, it's a distraction from the core mission. On Thursday, Martin released what amounted to a mea culpa. After last November's massive Democratic wins, I didn't want to create a distraction. But by not putting the report out, I ended up creating an even bigger distraction. For that, I sincerely apologize.
See that?
Okay, we got a flash goal, guys. Let's see what it is. We need 7 people to send a heart me, which everybody in here probably already did, so we're probably not going to do that unless we get more people in here. Anyway, the report he wrote in a statement was not ready for prime time. CNN was the first to obtain the 2024 autopsy. The report delves into decision-making during the 2024 presidential race. During Harris's campaign, the report said pollsters recognized that Trump's ads attacking her stance on transgender issues were very effective, and concluded that if the vice president would not change her position, and she did not, then there was nothing which would have worked as a response. The draft leaves out some notable sources of friction for Democrats in 2024, including criticism from the party's left over the Biden administration's strong support for Israel in its war with H group. The autopsy goes beyond decisions made during the 2024 campaign. Can I just say something about the way our media reports things on Israel that is so stark to me now that it's like, once you know, you know? The way that they described the genocide that Israel has perpetrated on Palestine, listen to the language, right? It included criticism from the party's left, right, progressives, over the Biden administration's strong support for Israel in its war with Hamas. That's so, to me, it's like,
What do you mean?
like, I see what you did there, because instead of saying, oh, a strong support for Israel in its, you know, in it committing a genocide against the Palestinian people, oh, it's a war where both sides are equal and both sides are fighting and both sides are at fault.
Right. And if that's the case, then why would they have needed to speak stronger about it if both sides are at fault with it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, and this is just a report about, but it's like they're always so very careful, right? It's not a war. Exactly.
Well, that's why, I mean, none of us really were flinching about I almost said Ireland, what the hell, about the I-state during the election. And we were kind of like, well, they're our allies because we didn't know then what we know now.
Yeah, no, 100%. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, once you know, you know, and then you pick up this kind of stuff, the way that the media always tries to sugarcoat shit, right? And whitewash it and make it sound pretty, make it sound different than it actually is.
Yeah, less nefarious.
What'd she say? I'm almost out of accounts to do heart me's with it. I can do it. Hold on. I can do it with this one. There we go. I can't do it with my third backup account because I didn't put money, not my second backup because I didn't put money in it yet. But I did it with my other one. Anyway, moving on. The autopsy goes beyond decisions made during the 2024 campaign, lamenting that in the years since Barack Obama's landslide presidential victory in 2008, Democrats have lost ground at every level of government and missed opportunities to invest in states and local officials. That is so important. It also suggests Democrats need to engage earlier with voters and put more money into voter contact, pointing to the conservative group, youth group Turning Point USA as an example of Republicans' year-round efforts. Yep, we've been saying that right since the beginning. Danny talks about it all the time, right? Yep. Terry, right? T-Dubs talks about that all the time. T-Pusa. T-Pussy or do pussy or whatever. They T-Pussy.
That's Missy came up
yeah.
with it. And she says it without flashing an eye, and people, she's like, what? That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it's called. The report calls for a greater focus on voters in Middle America and the South, who it laments have come to believe they are not included in the Democratic vision, which is very much not true. Harris wrote off rural America, assuming urban and suburban margin would compensate, the report states. That's bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why it's bullshit. Because she did her whole freaking let's go visit the farms with Liz Cheney thing. Right? It's like, yeah, that's total bullshit. The document also says it drew on publicly and commercially available data, as well as interviews with more than 300 people and organizations. An annotation on the document by the DNC says that the source material was not provided and that unsourced claims cannot be independently verified. The autopsy says that the Democratic Party and its candidates have lost voters' trust. In the face of misinformation and disinformation, our candidates have proven incapable of projecting strength, unity, and leadership, and voters have drifted away. And it echoes other warnings from top Democrats and population shifts away from blue states and the resulting potential changes in political representation after the 2030 census. Democratic officials, including at the DNC, have touted the party's overperformance in elections around the country and in the past year as a sign that the political tides are turning in their favor. But the autopsy warns Democrats against drawing a false sense of security from their success in 2025. A dive into the details shows some of those elections were tighter than Democrats should be comfortable with and point to room for improvement in future efforts. The release,
Oh, I just said, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know what you're talking about. The release comes at a trying time for the Democratic National Committee. Despite wins at the ballot box, the committee holds $18 million in debt, according to its most recent fundraising report, with only $14 million in the bank because the motherfuckers are grifting. I hope we can find the money for an autopsy of the rollout of the autopsy.
That's funny.
Said Alyssa Cass, a Democratic operative in New York. So, hey, Teresa. So the thing is, the little dig about the money in the end to try to get people to donate, but like, oh, they don't have enough money. That's why we can't win elections and all this stuff. Like, that's complete bullshit, because we know, and that was left out of this. That was left out of this report, which makes me think that it was a friendly reporter, right? The little thing, how they talked about Israel, the little thing about like all the talk about why Martin didn't release it and back and forth, instead of more about what was in the report. They didn't really hit too much or talk about, the Palestine of it all, right? Except to say that they supported Israel too much. The Jonah Hart, I still don't know who that guy is on our community gift, but it's fucking funny. And also, what else was I gonna say? Anyway, yeah, this little dig about the elections. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. That dive into the details shows that some of these elections were tighter than Democrats should be comfortable with. Mikey Sherrill won in a 15-point swing to the left. Spamberger won in a 16-point swing to the left from a Republican to a Democrat swing, right? You're talking about an average of 13-point swings, 20-point swings. They're not close by any means. So I don't even know what they're talking about with that.
Well, I was just thinking, are there ones out there that, I don't know, have we mostly covered the big ones? Are there little ones that have slipped by us?
Maybe, you know, maybe that's a thing. But also, we also have to consider the fact that because these were special elections, they were low turnout. And low turnout usually is a more conservative outcome. You get a more conservative outcome because it's not truly representative of the district or the state or whatever, because, you know, low turnout, it's like less data, right? Less data, less true representation of like the entire population. So think about it as like a sample, right? Like, you know, if everybody, like there's 17 people in the live, if they pulled 3 people out and sampled them and asked them one question, they would say, oh, well, you know, the answer that 2 out of 3 gave was this one answer. So thank you, Marnie. I love those parts. So that's representative of the entire live, right? So that 2/3 answer is representative of the entire live, and that just might not be true. Where if the sample was, say, 10 people out of 17, you would probably get a more representative and more clear example of what everybody in the live thought, if that makes sense. Got some statistics in that.
No, I got that. So are you saying that the sample size wasn't big enough, or it was big enough?
It was not. Like, so because it was low turnout, because it was a special election, and a lot of people, if you're not completely dialed into politics the way we are, you know, you don't even know. You don't know that there is an election, right?
Yeah.
Coming up or whatever, even when people are knocking on your door and everything, right? And so if you're not dialed in, you don't know there, you don't go and vote. And because you don't go and vote, there is, you know, there's less representation. So it's less people voting. And so the overall vote count, right? The overall result is more conservative and less representative of the entire population in that area. So I think that could contribute to what they're saying, that some of the races were a little bit tighter than they should be in that Democratic area. And I also think that a lot of those areas, a lot of those special elections were flips. So they went from Republican to Democrat, right? And so you're talking about a space, you're talking about a space and a place where it should be Republicans running the table and Republicans winning, but Democrats won. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so Democrats won it, even though Republicans were supposed to win it. So what they're saying, that even though Democrats flipped those seats, they should have flipped it by more. Yeah, no, not so much. Not when you're at a special election and low turnout. The fact that Democrats were even able to flip it with a special election and low turnout is startling, right? And very stark in its message all by itself.
Lufu, be careful using that word. TikTok doesn't like it. We can't say that.
Yeah, TikTok really doesn't like it. Okay, so I got a couple more things for you guys. All right. So apparently Samuel Alito is really pissed off.
Yay! I love that.
Yeah, he's fuming, right? This report says he's fuming that blue states have outsmarted his Dobbs decision. So, yeah, I know. I love that for him. So the Supreme Court restored telehealth access to AV pills on Thursday in an emergency order that provoked seething dissents from Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Big surprise, big shocker that of the two dissents. With just the two noted dissents, the court halted a decision by the Fifth U.S. Circuit of Appeals that had prohibited providers across the country from prescribing and mailing mifepristone through telemedicine. Blue states have preserved access to this drug, the first used in a medication AB, by authorizing their providers to prescribe and mail the medications across state lines. At Louisiana's request, though, that the Fifth Circuit had tried to halt this flow of the medication into states that criminalize reproductive health care. But SCOTUS has kept the pipeline open for now. In dissent, Thomas accused those providers of participating in a criminal enterprise and implied that they should be in prison. Alito, meanwhile, fumed that these blue states had undermined his decision, overturning Roe v. Wade by outsmarting anti-AB lawmakers.
I mean,
I'm just loving it for him, though. I'm just so happy.
not as smart as you thought. I mean, I'm surprised he even used that verbiage, that we outsmarted him.
Me too. Me too, 100%.
Yeah, that's kind of a big concession for someone who's supposed to be the smartest in the land.
Yeah, a huge concession, right?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Can I just say that I bought my favorite yogurt? It's the Fayet 2%, and it was $8.49. Okay. It's the big one, but still.
So happy for you, Steve.
It's yogurt.
I got it.
It's fucking yogurt.
We'll figure it out.
Hey, Ari.
Hi, Yari.
It is satisfying, Marnie.
Okay. So what else we got? Critics fear a midterm purge as the Trump administration promotes program to check voter eligibility. Even as Democratic officials fight the effort in court, the Trump administration has run millions of voter registrations through government databases to determine their eligibility in a process that critics worry could end up purging valid voters from the rolls before the November elections. At least 67 million 67 million registrations, primarily from Republican-controlled states, have gone through a beefed-up verification program at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and tens of thousands of those have been flagged as potential non-citizens or people who have unalived. Some states allow only a month for people to prove their eligibility, and others just suspend it immediately. The scanning of state voter rolls at the national level is part of a broader effort by Republican president, like we don't know who he is, to federalize certain election functions and promote his messaging that the elections are marred by non-citizen voting, even though instances of that are super, super rare. Voting and civil rights advocates say that the DHS system is error prone and can mistakenly flag people who are eligible to vote. If a voter is wrongly removed by the time they learn about it and correct it, they may miss their opportunity to vote in the election, said Frida Levinson, a lawyer with the American Civil Liberties Union of Ohio. The group is challenging an Ohio law requiring monthly checks with the DHS system, monthly checks. So every month, every single month, they have an opportunity in that state of knocking people off the voter rolls. Voters such as 29-year-old Anthony Nell have been caught in the middle. The native of South Africa, who became a citizen more than a decade ago, was flagged as a potential non-citizen when Texas ran its voter file through the DHS verification system. Nell's local election office in Denton, north of Dallas, temporarily canceled his registration last fall while he was waiting for a new passport to replace his expired one. I'm like, you should know that I'm a citizen because the passport exists.
Exactly.
which means he got a passport before, which means he would have had to be a citizen.
Exactly, 100%.
Right? And this is the entire point in me bringing this to you guys is because it's proof that Republicans they're not worried that, undocumented people are going to vote. They're not worried that somebody's going to use their unalive grandma's, name and go vote and get an extra vote or two, because they know that doesn't really move the needle. There's not enough of that going on. Right. They use that as a front to be able to run these names right through that system that they know is going to, in error, knock people off the rolls. Mm-hmm. And if they keep running it through month after month after month, they'll get enough mistakes to maybe move the needle.
Right. And that whole last minute, like not enough time to fix it, that shit's not by accident either.
That shit's not by accident either. And see, this is the kind of stuff that they did in Georgia. They were apoplectic after Biden won Georgia, of all places, in 2020. And not only did Biden win Georgia, but not one, but two Democrats won Senate, right? You had Ossoff and Raphael Warnock.
That Jewish man and that black man.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All back to, and they were like, oh, no, you do not in Georgia. Because Stacey Abrams worked her ass off to get people registered to vote. And it's not like Georgia did not have strict voter ID laws and all kinds of stuff, right? They did. So they did not care about voter ID laws and people that were not, were not qualified to vote. They just want to stop the wrong people from voting, the people that aren't going to vote with them. Right. And that's why they came up with that. I knew you were going to do that, Jonah. I could fucking feel it in my bones. Give me 1 second.
This is why AOC the other day said it is time for Democrats to become ruthless.
Yes.
Because they have been ruthless for forever. And we are trying to do it the right way and follow the rules. She's like, I'm not saying we should do anything illegal. Not at all. But we need to stop trying to paint inside the line so perfectly. Because they're not.
Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, they want to do everything that they can. Remember, after 2020, before 2024, the reason why you didn't see a repeat with Kamala win in Georgia was because they passed that law allowing anybody in the state, naughty Jonah is right. They allowing anybody in the state to challenge anybody else's voter registration.
Yeah. How many hundreds of thousands, wasn't it?
Yes, they had operatives. They had Republican operatives who lived in the state just submitting tens of thousands of names. And the only reason that they stopped it now, like now you have to have proof, you have to have some kind of probable cause or proof as to why, this person isn't eligible. You can't just say, here, knock these names off the list, because I don't think that they should be on there. You have to have some kind of, something, and it has to be investigated. But it's only because this entire town of Republicans got caught up in it. For whatever reason, they thought that they were mostly Democrats. I don't know why they thought that, but they were freaking pissed. But it was a small town, and almost the entire town went to this town council meeting and tore them a shiny new asshole.
I love that for them.
Yeah, I do love it. I love that for them. And because they did that, because Republicans did it and Republicans were freaking peeved, they actually had to change the law.
Right. So it's like, who's going out of their way to cheat, right? That's just like those couple of creators who have set up fake hotlines, and they get people to call and say, I just noticed that my son's little boy, his friend, his mama whenever they come out to play, I hear her speaking Spanish, and I just don't know what's going. I think somebody needs to investigate them, but they don't realize that they're getting clowned. But there are people out there that are happy to just cast doubt. They're like, well, it might not work, but it'll maybe make them look at them a little bit, slow them down if they are doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I got some TikTok clips to show you, and Antonis is going to be here in about 5 minutes. So I don't know how many we're going to get through, and you're not going to be able to see the clips. You're just going to be able to hear them. But Steve does this all the time, and it works.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
So we shall see. We'll see how it goes. So this one is Liz Oyer, and she's talking about Trump's stock buy.
Liz. Hey, everybody. If there's anyone in your life who still needs proof that Donald Trump is looting our government, there's something I'd like you to show them. This is called Form 278T, also known as a periodic transaction report. Government officials, including the president, are legally required to complete this form every time they buy or sell a stock or bond worth more than $1,000. The goal is to prevent conflicts of interest between their official duties and their personal financial interests. In May, Trump filed a Form 278T for the first quarter of 2026. It is 113 pages long, and it lists more than 3,600 stock trades between January and March. Trump bought and sold hundreds of millions of dollars in stocks, including big tech, defense contractors, media companies, crypto, and more. What's notable about this is not just that Trump is really rich, it's that he is heavily invested in companies whose businesses are directly affected by policies he is making. He is actively trading in their stocks at the same time he is making decisions that influence the value of those stocks. For example, Trump invested in both Paramount and Warner Brothers while his Justice Department is reviewing their proposed merger. He invested in Oracle at the same time he brokered their deal to buy TikTok. He invested in Palantir as they were awarded major government contracts worth over $1 billion. Trump is also buying crypto stocks while he is pushing a bill called the Clarity Act, which would help crypto companies. One of Trump's biggest buys was millions of dollars in NVIDIA stock. NVIDIA makes advanced AI chips, which they have been trying to sell to China for years. The US government has restricted the sale to protect our national security, but NVIDIA's CEO lobbied Trump for months to change that policy, and in December, Trump agreed. Then Trump went a step further. This week, he took NVIDIA's CEO to China with him on Air Force One to sell their AI chips to the Chinese government. NVIDIA's stock price has now gone up 26% since January. Trump also took the CEO of Boeing to China with him after buying millions of dollars of Boeing stock. On the trip, they sold 200 Boeing airplanes to the Chinese government. It is impossible to look at this and not ask, is Trump actually acting in the interests of the American people, or is he placing his own financial interests first? Other presidents have chosen to sell off their stocks or place them in a blind trust to avoid conflicts of interest, but Trump has refused to do that.
Yeah.
Lisa, did you see my comment?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
It says, Lisa, your face is facing.
Oh, my face was facing because it's just,
it was fabulous.
my face was facing because, yeah, because it's just freaking ridiculous.
It is.
All right, I'm gonna bring my backup up and it's gonna make a weird noise when I do. I'm sorry, but it's just gonna be for a second. There we go. Sorry.
Wasn't bad that time.
It wasn't too bad. I was on it. I was on it.
We have our two options, yeah.
Welcome to Friends with Political Benefits.
Welcome, Antonis.
Yeah, can you say your name for us, please? Because I know I'm gonna say it wrong.
That's fine. My name's Antonis Christodoulou. Antoni, like in Antoni. That's but yeah, I'm Greek. Yeah.
Antoni.
Yeah, Antoni. It's like a TH or a D sound in the Greek language. And the S is silent at the very end in the Greek language too.
Okay. And Antoni. Okay. Gotcha.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, we're very excited to have you here. Give me 1 second. See if that works.
How are you doing today?
We're
Good.
great. We're great. We're excited that you are here with us. It's a little cold and wet and gross in the Northeast, where Lisa and I are. It's like happy Memorial Day weekend, but you know, we're inside doing the Lord's work, right? So a neighboring county. I'm like 40 minutes outside of the city, but it was very exciting to see him win. I love and adore him.
Yes, he is someone I
love
watch.
him too.
Yeah, people were saying, you know, they thought Street was going to win. I was like, have you checked the polls? I mean, I know we're not supposed to be riding the roller coaster, but
Did you watch the Cory Booker event that they held too? That was
I wasn't able to watch that.
yeah, I didn't watch either. I just saw the photos, and it was a little interesting to see how empty it was. But yeah,
Okay, I think I got it, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's a little cut off at the bottom where it says his district, but you got his name up there and all that stuff. Come here, dude. You can't just be yelling the whole time.
You're talking to her bird, Anthony.
I'm talking, yeah, I'm not talking.
I just see the head. I saw the
Promise I'm not-
claws on
yeah.
the shoulder. I was like, oh, I was like, what's
She's not
that?
talking to you.
I'm
Like,
not
is this a
crazy, I
kid?
promise. Promise.
Yeah, if I was at my girlfriend's place right now, you see a bunch of cats walking around right now. So
Well, there you go. So why don't we start off by you introducing yourself, like talk about, you know, your family, your education, and why you decided to run.
So I'm Antonis Christodoulou. I'm 27 years old. I just graduated law school last May, and I decided to run for Congress because I was essentially tired of hearing our politicians, both Republicans, Democrats, centrists, all say that we can't afford to have healthcare, education, housing, and then immediately turn around and fund unlimited wars. I got very tired of hearing this sentiment from a lot of them, and it made me feel like I didn't have a home in the Democratic Party. When I ended up graduating high school, that was during Hillary campaign, and I believed a lot of the stuff I heard on the news. I believed that Bernie's healthcare education policies wouldn't be feasible because I heard my teachers saying, I heard people in the news saying, I just heard it all around me. Part of me was like, I mean, it sounds good and I like it, but I just believed that at the point. So then what I did was I started paying attention to everyone. I started paying attention to Republicans a lot more. I was like, dude, these people actually care about us. And what I quickly found out was no, they don't. A lot of them are just, they don't care about what we end up doing. They are focused on their donors. And then I started paying attention to the Democratic Party right after that. And what I ended up seeing was a lot of the same. I saw them focused on a lot of their donors. A lot of them basically attacking progressives on the left as much as they can. And we've seen it since then. And also we've seen it during this election too, this election cycle. And what made me feel weird is I felt like I didn't have a place. I felt like I didn't know where I belonged in our two-party system. So what I ended up doing was I knew I was never going to go to the far right because those guys are something. But what I ended up finding was independent media. I ended up finding a lot of people on the left. I ended up finding a lot of like Majority Report. Now it's Drop Site News. All these organizations that actually
Majority Report. Yeah, love them. I even love Breaking Point. And I know that the one guy is from the right, but he's like sane, right? And he tells the truth. Unlike a lot, you know, he just, you know, calls balls and strikes. And I love Crystal Ball, you know, Kyle Kalinske. I love him. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, those Kyle Kalinske probably, you know, between him and a lot of the progressive economists and, you know, economists on the left, like that really, like you said, I was a moderate too. And I was pre-law. And I went back to school. Yeah, I went to Rowan. I went in New Jersey, and I went back to school and graduated in 2022. So and it was like during that same time, and it was like, oh, it's, yes, yeah, this is the way it should be, but it's just not possible. We just don't have the money. We just can't do that. And I realized, and Stacy was very much in that same boat too. She believed a lot of the propaganda that gets pushed out. A lot of us did. But now, we understand that we see it for what it is, that it is propaganda, that it's part of the messaging that gets pumped in so that we won't ask for stuff, right?
Yeah, it's very much obstructionist for actual progress. And that's what kind of tipped me over the point was when, Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett being appointed was something that got me very like, what is going on here? Like, these guys are pushing through everything they can. And then I was like, I can't wait for Democrats to come into power and do something. And then they came into power. They had a light supermajority, but they still had enough people where they can get things done. But what I ended up seeing was obstructionists showing up. That's exactly what we're seeing with the War Powers Act right now, where one Democrat comes out of the corners and says, nope, I'm going to vote against this, even though you got 4 Republicans to vote with us. And we've seen that for a long time.
That's my
Yeah.
Betterman's mine. Sorry.
Yeah, Betterman was a Senate one, but there was a Democrat on the
On the House side.
yeah, there was a Democrat on the House side that also did that a few days ago, actually, I think. But it's that type of system that makes people feel like we don't, like, the Democrats aren't voting.
Was it Pete Aguilar? Because, that dude always, be messing stuff up.
So Pete Aguilar is also in leadership. What a lot of the leadership does, especially as the caucus chair, what we see is that people are retiring, or people who are going out, or in districts that are kind of safe or not being challenged. Those people vote against it. They try and get people on the outskirts so they can get safe for a vote. What Pete Aguilar, though, voted for was the FISA one. That one was something he voted for. And also another thing I would bring up later on that we could get into more details, essentially him voting with Republicans instead of progressives to divert 10% of spending from the Pentagon to healthcare, housing, and education. That was in 2021. So it's a voting track, that a record that shows that he's not for the working class people. He's for the donors. 680,000 from AIPAC alone this past cycle, and that's since 2025. And then he got the same amount from just the last election alone, from that entire 2-year point. So it's very obvious why he ends up voting to send $3.8 billion to Israel, while that same week that they did that vote in January, in Redlands, California, which is a city out here, he was actually mayor of that city 12 years ago. That same week, that school board was voting to lay off 138 teachers, counselors, and staff. He's yet to mention that once. He's yet to even talk about it, but it shows that he's more focused on these billionaires. He's more focused on AIPAC, and it's just very sad that people are being forgotten. And if that's happening in the city that he claims to be his home, then where else is he forgetting in the district?
Yeah, it's really disheartening. It really is. Yeah, I and I say this all the time. A couple of years ago, I would have told you that I was a Bill Maher moderate, right? Like, everybody laughs at me, but I laugh at myself now when I think about it, right? I mean, you just have to laugh at it's like you do better when you know better, and that's what it is. It's like, yeah, I fell for the okie doke. What do you want me to do? We all fell for some kind of propaganda in our lives. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I would say about 3 years ago, that's where I was. That's exactly where I was. And now I'm probably as progressive as they come. But there, one of the questions I wanted to ask is about that. It's a lot of voters, right? They believe that both parties have become too influential, influenced by wealthy donors, corporations, all that kind of stuff. So what specific reforms would you support to reduce that corruption and try to restore trust in government again?
The biggest thing that we need to get past is overturning Citizens United. We need to get corporate money out of our politics. We need also make sure that foreign lobbyist groups are properly restricted from being able to just be able to go into our system and influence it. I mean, just look at what happened in Massey's election. $37 million in one House seat, which is the most money spent.
That was just insane.
$15 million from AIPAC against Massey alone. Like, I mean, I don't like Massey entirely, but at least he was fighting against some things and that I agreed with, and he at least worked with Ro Khanna to get some stuff done. But that's also the biggest thing. Like you mentioned, people feel like these guys aren't for us. When I was going and getting signatures in California, I was sitting outside of Sprouts holding a clipboard, and people would walk by and be like, I've lost hope. I'm sorry. I think I was rude with you when I said no before. I just wanted to say that I just lost hope. And I heard that multiple times. And that's the reality of the fact is even a friend of mine, when I announced that I grew up in high school, he's a Republican, he ended up messaging me saying, I feel like I don't have a home in the Republican Party anymore. It's this type of, it's that type of control or that type of governance by the Democratic Party that is basically vote for us so you don't have them, so you don't have the Republicans, but instead we need to vote for something. I wanted something to vote for. I'm running because I wanted something to vote for. I wanted to fight for healthcare for all, or universal healthcare, so people can not have to ration insulin. Someone very close to me ended up getting affected by Trump's cuts, and we can talk about that a little later. But I had to watch her deal with rationing.
Yeah, go ahead. No, if you want to tell her story now, go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, so this woman I am very close with, she works in medical research for cancer and women's health. So two things that are very much funded by the federal government in our grant system. And she was doing that before Trump got in. And then as soon as Trump got in, you know, with those grant cuts and everything, she was immediately affected, laid off immediately. It was very tough because she is type 1 diabetic. So watching her have to just go through it, everything like it's normal, because she's done this before, where she had to ration insulin, where she had to collect extra Dexcoms, which are the glucose systems that give you like insulin. Mm-hmm. And it's just in the glucose monitors too. And it's insane because this is not just the reality when Trump cut stuff. It's the reality during the ACA. Like the ACA was a great bill. It brought healthcare to a lot of people, but it also created PBMs. It created this system of insurance that is just so profitable, where we end up paying more and more for premiums. Like our premiums were increasing an insane amount. Like even before Trump came in, we had to discuss how can we afford all these glucose monitors? Like what happens if you end up losing your job? How are we going to be able to survive? And that's what a lot of Americans are dealing with and have to consider. And that is just something, like I was radicalized before that. And I mean, the left radicalization is way different than the right. We're just like, you get healthcare, they're like, we're going to deport everyone. So it's that type of governance that makes people think that we're not cared for. Because if I have to ration insulin, but you're saying that everything's all right, our economy is doing well. Like I'm 27. I've been hearing that my entire life. I've been hearing corporations celebrate record profits while they lay off thousands of workers. And that's what we're seeing today as the stock market is doing amazing, as Pam Bondi says during her House and Senate conferences. But it's that type of thing. And yeah, we kind of strayed off the question that you originally asked.
No, it's okay. But yeah, how, like, is there, so what I get from your answer is the way that we restore trust is to get money out of politics, for one, so that people feel like when they vote, their vote matters and they're not being drowned out by some corporation or some super PAC. And I like Bernie Sanders just introduced a new bill in the Senate, I think today or yesterday. So to limit the amount of money each like billionaire or whatever, or corporation could give to a super PAC, limit it to $5,000, which I mean, that's like nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. It would, you know, it would significantly curb this, you know, buying politicians and buying elections thing that they've been doing. It really would. They would be so like screwed just with that alone.
Yeah, if I can, I'm sorry. I know it's very dangerous to read chat, but someone said the idea of rationing insulin is wild. I mean, during that process, I will touch back on what we were talking about, but I just wanted to mention this. It is wild because I also learned from this person that in every major city in the United States, there's a Facebook group where people who are laid off don't have the financial means for it. They go to this group chat and ask people for insulin. They ask people to give them insulin because they're struggling with these things, and it's either a layoff or their insurance doesn't cover it. Or also, what a lot of people don't know is that these Dexcoms and these systems, they malfunction. So if you put insulin in them, then you're out that amount. You're out that 100 milliliters or the amount. So that's the reality that people live in. But to go back to what you're talking about is the best way to show people that, or to get the Democratic Party's name improved, is to do exactly what we're seeing in New York. Say what you're going to do, and then stick with it. Stick with the message. Do everything you can. Fight the system from within. That's why I'm running as a Democrat. I'm a progressive. I'm a democratic socialist, but I believe that in this two-party system, we have to go through the system. We have to be within it.
Oh my God, I love that you say that, because I like these people that are like, oh, we got to vote third party. No, we are splitting our vote. I understand the inclination. I understand that the establishment Democrats, you know what I mean? I get it. But it's like the GOP is a fire, right? Trump and the GOP are a fire, and they're just burning everything in their path. And progressives are like, you know, big tankers full of water with saplings in each arm. They're coming to put the fire out and replant all the trees that were burned. And establishment Democrats, you know, even though they are pains in the ass, even though, right, they are still a burn line, right? They are still a burn line. They are going to stop the fire, right? They might not be able to put the water out, but they got a couple seeds. They got about 5 or 6, you know, tree seeds in their pocket. They don't have no big sapling, but they got some, you know, seeds in their pocket, and they can draw a burn line and at least stop the burn until next cycle. Like, that's how I think about it in my head, right? So I love that you are talking about, really what you're talking about is a third party, but a takeover within the Democratic Party itself, which is what we promote all the time. Like, you want a third party? Bet. Let's build a third party within the Democratic Party. Let's take it over.
Right.
Because that's where the voters are too. Like, I speak with a lot of people. I'm sure you guys hear a lot too. It's not just what people are saying online, but people are struggling. The most receptive people to me when I door knock are actually Republicans. I know when I look at the PDI data and like, this is a Republican, certain age. Usually I'm prepping. I'm just going to stay on message. I'm just going to say affordability. I'm going to focus on what I want to do, because I in law school, I study antitrust law. I don't know if you guys know that. What that is exactly, but it's like monopolization of markets, how we can control from the federal government. That's ultimately why I chose a federal seat, because I feel like this is how I can make the best change. So I would talk to people about groceries, and I'd say everything you see in the grocery store, it's mainly just owned by a few companies. And this is why, because if you look at the meatpacking industry, what they're doing in Nebraska is basically just controlling our markets. They're closing down facilities so they can end up just destroying whole communities. Are basically employed. Their cities are employed out there, and they basically just close it down so they can create a higher demand because there's less supply, and then they just make more profits off that. It's insane to see that, and it's something that I've seen for so long, and it's made me so frustrated because it's just so simple to notice and talk about, but then we see these Democrats not say it. Like, you had your example of Democrats are assisting, but I also view them as progressives are trying to bring the water to the thing with buckets. Democrats are stabbing the underneath of the buckets, letting it spill out a little and saying, let me help you out. I have the seeds. Once you're done, I'll plant some seeds. Yeah. Because that's how I view because the biggest difference between me and Pete that I go to is that he's fighting for ACA subsidies only. He's fighting to get back what we had, to go back to the status quo.
Status quo. And that's the thing. That's what, you know, this is the thing. That's why I called it a burn line, because the burn line is the status quo, right? It's the fire's still going, right? The fire is still going, right? It's still going, but it can't spread any further. Mm-hmm. And to me, it leaves the door open. Be like, all right, stay here, right? You're the burn line. You're going to stay here, but we're coming back with the water and the saplings. right? Yes. Yep. We will be right back because, and that's the message. Like I was thinking about this earlier, and I want I want these establishment Democrats, if they don't lose their seat completely, I want them to feel our breath on the backs of their necks, right? I want them to feel that shot across the bow, like, dude, you are not safe. You barely made it out alive this time. And we will be back in 2 years, you know what I mean, for that ass. And we will take you out next time. Like, don't think that we won't. So, you know, act funny if you want. Act funny if you want, because we're going to be on you the entire time, where you're going to hold your feet to that fire that you let Trump set ablaze. And we will be back. So you either got to get with the program or get out of the way. Yeah, because that's, you're right. They believe that they can go back to the status quo, continue to line their pockets, right? But because the fire isn't, like, you know, continuing to burn, to be like, oh, what, that little fire? Oh, no, we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna get that fire extinguisher. We're gonna get the fire extinguisher out back, and we're just gonna, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. What?
I'm gonna go get the baking soda.
Yeah, let me get the baking soda. We just sprinkle a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, no, it'll be fine.
You replace the baking soda with grease.
We say that. We always say to the candidates that we are interviewing, that not only are we asking you here to get your views, we are here to give you your marching orders and to make sure you know we're not only going to be expecting you to hold true to the promises that you made to us, but also to put them on notice on the inside, right? I say it every single time. I'm like, it is your job to go in there and get them together. I'm like, listen, I don't know if you've been outside lately, but there's a different look in their eye, and they're coming for you if you don't start playing ball and moving this country back in the direction of the people and not your pockets, your lobbyists' pockets. None of that is acceptable anymore. And like Lisa said, dude, you do realize that you just made it in by the hair of your chinny chin chin.
Mm-hmm. That's what I want them to feel like. Yeah.
Also, many people are probably just voting because that's the Democrat in the seat too. Like, that's the guy they know, or that's what says the U.S. rep. So they're like, I'm just going to vote for the guy who is already in the seat, because either they don't know about the other option, or they don't know what's out there, or no one's running against them. Pete Aguilar hasn't had a real contender or a real guy running against him in years. Like, it's been 12 years, and he's only had one guy actually run as a Democrat. And I heard that guy was traveling and working outside the district, and he still got 8,000 votes. It's interesting.
Wow.
And
I think too. I think that a lot of people don't realize, like, they just assume that it's it's win-lose, but it's not, because primaries actually, especially with a progressive, it forces the Dem candidate to the left in order to try to win over those Democrats, right? It's like, if it actually, like, your policies, your ideas, right? Like, if nothing else, like, your ideas get out there and people start thinking about it and people start wondering about it, and then they'll start asking him about it. But like, well, he says we can have Medicare for all, and he says that you are full of it when you say we don't have the money for it, right? And so, like, it does so much good. Nobody should run unopposed. I don't think anybody should ever run unopposed, right? Like, I really don't, because it's about ideas. It's about giving people a choice, a real choice. And it's about making sure nobody feels comfortable, because nobody should ever feel comfortable in that seat. You are representing us. And if you stop doing that, then we will replace you. And they should feel that at every single turn. Stace, do you have a question?
Well, just kind of on that point, what are your top policy positions, the things that would be, number 1, 2, 3 on your list when you get elected, to go in there and really push as your head forward agenda?
So a lot of what I hear about the issues out in my district, and also it's very uniform in the entire country, actually, is just affordability and jobs. My biggest thing that I studied in law school that I ended up falling in love with was the antitrust law. what I want to do is I want to break up monopolies. I mean, our utility companies are owned by monopolies. I don't know if you know much about what's happening out in California, but recently in Lake Tahoe, a Nevada company provides energy to Lake Tahoe, the city, 55,000 homes. They announced last week that they're going to stop giving them electricity and then focusing on data centers. And that is the type of conflict that we need to fight against, where the profit incentive for these companies weighs way above anything else they decide to do. They want to make the most money and they're going to go do it. And that means that a whole city is 55,000 homes are going to lose power. And that's why when I was because I grew up in this district. I grew up in Rancho Cucamonga, California. And I went to UC Irvine right after that. We didn't go through my education, but I went to UC Irvine after that, studied pre-law under political science. But then once I got back, it was during the pandemic, and I was like, I want to get a change of pace. I want to go outside the district. I want to see I want to experience stuff. So I went to DC, and I lived out there for 8 months, and then went to law school out there. And what I ended up doing at the end of after I graduated was I joined DSA. I ended up seeing DSA, and I saw a program that they did. It was called We Power DC. And essentially what they want to do is they want to have the city, they want to push the city, and actually they're successfully getting 2 candidates through, a council member and also a mayor, who are pushing for it and saying that we need to get a public utility to compete against these profiteers, because the Pepco out there, they're just increasing rates. They're claiming that they have so much more costs, so you have to do it, even though those costs are based on estimates. And even though they've also received, or like they've been able to already get the charges for it, and they've been under it. So they're like, oh no, we should still keep them out so we can just have it for like carryover. And they're fighting with the courts. It's a whole thing, but it's that type of fighting that our government needs to do, whether it's state, local, or federal. We need to come in and compete. That's what we're seeing in grocery stores. We need to have, I agree with Zoran. When you have food deserts, you have to come in and bring in commissaries. People understand as commissaries in the military. You need to make grocery stores. You need to create a market, or you need to create a competitor in this market. Because if not, these companies are going to destroy us. They're going to increase all of our prices. That's what we're seeing with Verizon. Verizon just bought Frontier out here. And Frontier was a huge provider of internet. As soon as they bought it, I saw they announced it, I saw my bill increase by 50%. And I'm like, what about this? I called them. I'm like, what's happening here? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, it was a mistake. And I'm like, it's not a mistake. You do this because you know you can, and then people are going to be too busy because, one, they put AI as like a barrier. So when you go through the call system or the chat system, you have to get through a convoluted system. And we can go more into that because that's a whole nerd thing that I have. But that's in like every market. That's also, Amazon was sued for it by Lena Khan's FTC. But essentially, they put all these barriers for us to be able to complain about anything or say that we're being screwed by this company. And then they become bigger. They buy up all the competitors, and then we just have to deal with it. We have to deal with it, and they lay off workers. Like, I have a friend who works for Verizon, and during a bunch of the layoffs, we end up looking at Verizon's statements and how profitable they were during that quarter. Well, they made billions of dollars, and they were doing stock buybacks. I also want to end stock buybacks. I think that is what's destroying this country. That is something that we need more politicians to fight against, because it was illegal before Reagan. Reagan came in, just like a lot of other things he's done. We saw the country go down from there. So I want to fight that. That's something I really want to do.
Okay.
But there's many other things like healthcare, universal healthcare. That's going to be a longer fight, I feel like. But every day I'll be saying it. We need to get to that point so we can get healthcare, housing, and jobs programs. We need to make things affordable, because currently I'm living with my mom because it's hard to afford things after you go in large amounts of law school debt. So yeah, but
Get it.
it's worth fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot more people are going to have to do that. I mean, I tell people all the time, I moved back in with my parents after I divorced with my 2 kids who were teenagers at the time, preteens, and I'm still there. I just built a space for myself in their backyard, and I'm still there because I realized, and we all realized, like, my entire immediate family lives on, one piece of property, and we call it the compound, right? And it's like a duplex, and, the whole thing. But, and then I saw a report. I kept saying, like, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of this. And then I saw a report that more and more people are looking for homes with mother-in-law suites. looking for duplexes, looking for multi-family homes. And the thing is, that's the way it used to be. We've been sold a lie about this, nuclear family thing. It was a capitalist gimmick, right? It really was. It was a capitalist gimmick to make us buy more houses and more washer and dryers and more cars and all the things. Because the natural way is for extended family to live together, for multiple generations to be in the same house. Like, that is the more natural thing. And I think that we have to make it normal, right? We have to normalize that again, because that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
If that, well, at least make it an option, right? Make it so that
It's
you
not
can-
stigmatized.
it's not take the stigma away.
Mhm.
Because you were talking about the cost of energy and everything, right? What are your thoughts on how to combat the data centers? Because they are right now I've touched the nerve, I can tell. The single largest contributor to increase in price. And I know that some states, like I'm in Pennsylvania, and our governor is trying to hold these data centers feet to the fire by saying you can come, but you're gonna have to strap a generator to your back, because you're not going to put that cost on our residents. It doesn't really address the water use and other things. Like, he's not my favorite person right now. Like, Josh, but he's not my favorite person.
Governor, right?
Huh?
Your governor, you said?
Yes, Josh Shapiro. Right. Things like me and Josh need to have a little tete-a-tete, but he is at least putting it out there that this isn't something that you're going to be able to just swoop in and do. So what are your thoughts about that in your district in California?
So
Water is really scarce.
water is really scarce in California, though we got a lot of rain.
Stace,
Sorry.
I need 2 minutes.
Yep, you got it. Go for it.
So my reservoir, we got a lot of rain and we ended up getting a lot of reservoirs, but filled up. But it's something that's very important because it's multifactored. It's not just a data center coming in and then taking all the power. It's also, what are they doing with that power? Are they also burning gas too? Because how I ended up learning a lot about data centers was XAI in Tennessee. How they ended up putting jets, like jet engines, on literally the facility and then running them with gasoline or with fuel. And then the local communities it's More Perfect Union did a whole thing on this. I love them so much. They're amazing. But essentially they would just run them and the neighbors would just hear ringing throughout the day, 24/7. And it just drove them insane, but their air got worse. People started having health issues. I would support a national moratorium on building data centers. I'm for sure going to be against, on the federal level, we don't have, there's some things that we can do. There's not too much. We're going to get sued, but we need to try something. We need to fight against it. I'm against giving federal subsidies or any bailout to them. We should not be doing that. There are AI companies already signaling for the past year that if there is a crash, they should get bailed out by the government. No, screw off. No. And I will come out every day saying that we need to be focusing on the workers. We need to be focusing on our people. We need to be focusing on doing that. Like out here, one of the biggest things are warehousing. A lot of people are seeing warehouses open up right next to their homes, right next to their kids' schools, right next to parks, all these places. And with data centers, I think that's similar to what we're seeing in other parts of the country too. Out here, we don't have them. We have quite a few, but we're not like abundantly building a lot right now. But it affects us. Like even that, what I mentioned about Nevada's energy company that left Lake Tahoe, a company that's far away, a data center out there, can still affect us. Our energy, if it's owned by a certain company, it can end up being transmitted to a different place. Like they can go wherever the money is. And just making sure that we have federal policies, we have federal laws, and also we have in Redlands or in Highland in the district a few days ago, and one of the council members said something very interesting. He said, well, we have to also gauge the profit.
They can't afford to sue and have the understanding of how to go about pushing back legally.
Well, if I can also add to that, I was there with a group of warehouse, like a association, like a small association, like a Instagram that says we're going to fight for the rights of these people. And essentially all of them are like, these are being built all over the place and it's nonstop. And these jobs are also not paying enough to be able to afford to live too. The housing, it's terrible. And I went there and I'm listening to how quickly this council was like dealing with it. Like we walked in, everyone's prepped. We have our turn-in sheets to speak. And what I ended up hearing in the very beginning was the city council saying that the applicant for this measure, because they were voting on whether they should approve it or approve the zoning for it to be allowed as a facility or as a warehouse. They said that the applicant pulled it. They said that they want to continue it to another date. Well, we had a bunch of people here. And what they quickly did at that city council meeting was they said, okay, since we're pulling that, we're going to open public comment right now. If you want to have any comments, then come up now. And then a few seconds later, they're like, okay, no one's standing up. We're done. And then they moved on. And I'm looking at everyone else who came there to talk about warehousing and all that things. And they're just like, what's going on? What do we do? I'm looking at the organizers. What do we do? At that point, I should have stood up and just said, I want to talk about warehousing. But what ended up happening is everyone stayed for the entire meeting. It was a few agenda items. And then they ended up just saying, okay, we're done. We finished. It was continued. We're not going to talk about it. Everyone in that group ended up standing up and is like, why can't we talk about this? We came here to talk about it. We're spending time now. Why can't we do that now? And it's that type of system where these companies know that, because I later found out that was the third time they did it. That's the third time they pulled and continued the application to a later date. And they can do it as long as they want until the petition ends and expires. And then they have to reapply and do that whole thing. And then they can do it all over again. And then they're hoping that people stop showing up, essentially.
They're trying to wear you down. And that's what they always do.
That's why I told everyone, I'm like, we got to keep coming in. We got to keep coming. These people are going to keep doing this. Even if it's the third time, they know. Because the day you don't show is when they're going to show up, and they're going to say, we need to turn this into a warehouse. Everyone wants it. It's going to bring jobs. And in reality, it's just going to create more trucks and create more toxic air, because my district is one of the most polluted in California with air pollution, because the air quality is terrible because we live in a valley. So it's very, like, with the mountains and hills, it's everything just stays in there.
Yeah. So when you're saying warehouses, do you mean, what are they specifically using them for?
Like Amazon warehouses, like logistics, like just to store a bunch of things, like huge warehouses. Like when I grew up out here, this land was empty. It was a few here and there, but now you drive through, it's everywhere. Like it's huge, like giant facilities spanning blocks, like multiple blocks. Like if you even look up what happened with Kimberly Clark, that facility that got burned down by someone, that was a giant square footage. Like it was blocks, it was multiple blocks, like it was huge. And it's that type of warehousing that people are noticing and saying, I'm tired of it, I'm fed up with it, it's everywhere, and they're just making air quality worse. We're seeing more trucks, our freeways are being much more attacked. Also, that transit system is something I'm also focused on. I want to get some trains out here. We need to get some trains out here, because DC, it was very nice to be able to get around without a car.
Is that beautiful or what? That's what DC is one of my all-time favorite cities. And I love that you can go anywhere in DC on the metro. It's absolutely beautiful. Also, I just recently saw a TikTok video. I learned so much on TikTok. TikTok video about the fact that the transit system, the public transit system was demolished in like the 20s and 30s by the Rockefellers, who bought out the train system. Like we had this amazing train system going all through New York. We had the trolley cars and stuff like that, like they have in San Francisco. And the Rockefellers bought them out because they like made a big deal, made a deal with all the car companies because, they were eating into their profits. People didn't need to buy a car if they could just take public transit. And so, yeah, they bought out the companies, the rail companies, and tore up all the tracks so it could not be replaced.
Sorry, Lisa, you're not thinking about the profit incentive for these companies.
Yes, exactly. And they not only did that, but they convinced politicians after they ripped out the tracks to subsidize the highway system.
And that's what we're seeing with the California rail too. We're subsidizing it heavily. The company's also putting their money in, but I mean, they're private corporation. They're getting screwed in Florida because they had to put a lot of money up front too. But these systems aren't meant to be built by private corporations in a public-private system. It should be built by the public. And then we own it, and then we lease it to those companies because then we control it. We can say, no, you need to give better prices. We have negotiation power. Or we're gonna build our own railroad company. That's what made me very mad about the 2008 crisis. We shouldn't have given that many bailouts. We should also put limitations on those bailouts. Like I was 9 years old at that time. If I was a kid talking, I wish I knew, I would have said something. But it's that type of governance that people are like, what are we doing? Because so many people lost out. They lost out on their pensions. They lost out on their 401k. They lost out on a lot. A lot of people are still not able to recover from that, but a lot of people were able to make a lot of money from it. And they pocketed that and they kept it because there was no limitations on what they could do. So stock buybacks, so paying executives golden parachutes because they got the good deal. I wanted to see a government that came in and said, you know what, we're going to make a U.S. air. We're going to make an air company because we're going to buy your assets. We're going to say that we need to do it ourselves. Though there's some people are scared of Trump's with Spirit because he was thinking about taking that up and using it for like military and other stuff. But having a government that is able to come in and say, we're going to compete against you because you are screwing us. You're taking all the money by paying your shareholders, by paying your executives, and not paying your workers and laying them off or forcing airline attendants to have to work very short hours and not pay them for the time they're at the airport waiting for the plane to come in. Like it's,
that's something that we need to get better at messaging is a public option. Say, look, we're not privatizing. I mean, we're not going to, just take it over and be like communists, right? And use scary words, right? We're not going to, just take over the entire like banking system. We're not going to just take over the entire healthcare system. We're just going to provide a public option. And what is that? That's free market, right? That's competition, right? It's like what you have something against free market competition? I thought you were capitalists, but no, they are not capitalists. They are capitalists when it comes to the consumer. And they are socialists when it comes to the corporation.
Yeah,
exactly. That's perfectly put. That's how it should be because Elon Musk, biggest welfare queen, he's been getting so much money from the government. The reason why Tesla's afloat right now is because of those carbon credits. Yep. He would not be surviving right now. That company would not be worth that much money. He would not be able to be in the government and have such a huge amount of wealth if it wasn't for carbon credits. They would sell it to companies saying that we want to survive. And that was government saying, we're going to bail you out. We're going to help you out. And I'm not against the government helping out companies entirely, but they shouldn't be funding billionaire companies who end up just profiting and just keeping that money anyway. Like, it's our money. You at least sell the cars a lot cheaper if you're going to do that.
And we never get anything out of it. We never get anything out of it when we have bought some of these companies 10 times over by now, right? Like we really have the amount of money that we've given to banks, the amount of money that they've gotten in tax cuts, the amount of money that they've gotten federal contracts, subsidies, and all these different things. We could have bought some of these companies. We could own them by now. And we never get anything out of it. All this money that we have put out in research and development, given it to universities, right? Who do all the research and stuff for these new medications and these new technologies and stuff. Then the pharmaceutical company comes along and they buy it from the university. The university makes out, hey, the university, you did all this and created this on public funds. And then they sell the medications back to us at a 600% markup. We don't get anything out of it. And you wouldn't even have the medication if it wasn't for this public investment, taxpayer dollars.
Yeah,
And we don't get to own any of it.
I studied IP law in law school. That was I actually wanted to be an IP attorney.
really?
That's why I ended up finding antitrust because IP is just a monopoly of
Intellectual property.
rights. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest thing because these companies are essentially like we think of them as like Google's amazing, like they've innovated so much, but they were basically funded by the government. The internet was funded by the government. Like all these programs are funded by the government, and then they end up keeping the entire intellectual property. They end up building it up, the company, and just where's the innovation? They end up not innovating as much, especially now. Like what drives me insane right now is that it feels like these companies are just not focused on any innovation. Like I feel like it's been a long time, but I saw it like 10 years ago. I saw it when I was in high school. I saw it when I was in undergrad. I was like, these guys aren't improving things. And then right now we're seeing when I'm writing on my keyboard, now I see ads for like GIFs to use from like shows that are coming out. Like we're seeing our services get more and more expensive and then be worse off. Like Netflix, like I talk about Netflix because people understand the trademark, they understand the name, but it's also a luxury to have them, I guess, too, because the real issues are like car companies that you need to buy, putting subscriptions for like heated seats or putting subscriptions for all types of things. But also like the main issues are our utility companies. But essentially like Netflix, they've made $9 billion and they just pay shareholders all of it, but like 0.2 billion. And that's the type of thing that ends up destroying us because these shareholders are then collecting all the money and then none of that gets into our communities. When you see these big franchise come into your neighborhood, that should scare you because then you start thinking, where's that money going to end up going? When I pay them, are they going to pay their workers? No. Are they going to pay the managers that are doing it? Not as much. Are they going to, where's it going? Or are they just going to send it back to corporate? Are they going to send it back to Wall Street and do dividends or do stock buybacks? And that ends up taking money from our communities, bleeding it out to, or sending it outside. So then we end up not getting the money for it. And in this district, I wanted to go bowling a few winters ago. And my friend and I were like, we're going to be so much fun because I did that before I went to law school. We had a big bowling party. I think it was like $30 or so. But when we wanted to go like half a year ago, we ended up looking at the price and it was $50 per person to go. And we're like, and that's just to get the reservation. And we're sitting there like, we can't afford that. Like, this is insane. Like, and then I ended up looking into it and I ended up finding out that Bolero was purchased by Lucky Strike. And these bowling company, it's this conglomerate. These are big corporations. They had a lot of bowling companies out here. I know it's crazy to talk about bowling companies when we're talking about changing the system, but this is an easier way of understanding how these companies work because we're seeing that in our housing. We're seeing that everywhere else in our markets, but it's just, people go bowling. You want to enjoy, you want to have fun. You want to be able to afford to have fun with your kids and your family and your friends. But they ended up buying it for a lot of millions of dollars. They closed a few next door and one next door that they own because they didn't need two right next to each other. And then they just raise prices. They make it look like they renovated it, but they don't pay their workers. They have less staff. They fire people. That's exactly why Lena Khan came after Kroger in Albertsons during that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can talk.
I love Lena Khan. Oh my God. I just love her.
But that was one of the biggest things because what would have happened is there's a Ralph's and Albertsons right next to each other where I shop and where I actually grew up. She said that if we allow this merger to go through, we're essentially they're gonna close down one of them. They're gonna fire all the workers at one of them. They're gonna lay off a few people at the other one because I mean they're just gonna force the other people to do more work for the same pay and hope that works out and they still make their money. They're gonna just put in a bunch of like kiosks that are automated. But it's that type of system that we're seeing repeated in every market, everywhere. It's that conglomerate, that oligopoly of just having a few market competitors who own the entire market and say, oh, we're just competing against each other. But are they? They're probably colluding. They're probably doing a bunch of things. And
I paid $1,200 to have my son's 30th birthday party at Bolero 2 years ago.
That's why I mentioned it. That's why I mentioned it.
I was like, we're bowling and eating chicken wings.
It used to be. It should be a lot cheaper.
That wasn't even a drink passage. I'm like, what are we doing?
And I'm sure the workers weren't getting paid much of that either. You know, and your community is not getting that. That's
lanes kept breaking down. The lanes kept breaking down.
Lanes get broken down, and that's how I spoke to a Republican that I grew up with out here. The dad, I was like, I knew he was bowling, so I brought it up. I was like, these prices are going insane, and they're going to charge more because they know people are going to pay more, or they're going to pay so they can do something, you know, because we can't just sit at home all day. And essentially that affects you because, I mean, he's richer, he's wealthier, but you're paying more still. And they're going to start gearing their stuff towards you. That's why we're seeing airlines put more and more premium seating, first class, business. They're doing that and limiting the other one. They're going to raise prices of both areas, but they're limiting the amount of economy seats. And we're also seeing that in the apartments. Everything's luxury. When I was growing up and looking for apartments for undergrad, I saw everything just luxury, luxury, luxury. I'm like, where can I get something that I can afford? And why is it all luxury and expensive and crazy? Well, Irvine, I went to UC Irvine. Irvine is owned entirely by one company called Irvine Company, and they own so much. They build so much. They do something. Somehow they're on like movies too. It's weird. They have like a huge ownership of markets in there. So they make so much money, and I'm just sitting here like, this is what happens. Like, we end up getting corporate captured. Our politicians get corporate capture, and they don't want to fight it because they're funded by these people.
No, 100%. In the chat, one of our producers, Marnie, is talking about dynamic pricing, right? And the fact that Walmart and ShopRite are going. Have you heard about this yet, Stace?
Absolutely. One of them got sued, right?
Yes.
Who got sued?
One of them did get sued. I don't remember, but somebody did get sued over it because they've been doing it online for a while. So the way it works is they are watching us at all times online, right? They're capturing our information. We're doing searches, our text messages, but whatever. So if we get a text message or an email from a family member saying, oh, your mom is in the hospital or Gran is in the hospital, and a message back from you, all right, I'm going to look up some hotels and some flights. They will jack up the prices for you. When you go to look at those prices, the prices will be like double because they know that you need it and that it's urgent right now for both the flight and the hotel.
We got to go back to the days of smug dealers. Like,
I know,
you got the code. Don't say anything on the phone.
Yes.
Say nothing.
Or like you're gonna have to get like a friend or something to get your flight, like to look up your. It's just, but anyway, they're what Marnie was saying was that the stores, the brick and mortar stores, want to get digital price tags so that they can do that and use facial recognition software, so that if Stacy's standing in front of the shelf, something might be $4.89, and then when I get up to the same shelf to buy the same coffee, it's $6.28.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, sorry, finish. I didn't mean
no, I just saw what Stacy said. That's right. They do it with Uber too, based on the life of your phone battery.
You have 1%, you're going to take whatever is like, just push the button. My phone's going to die. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, DC, I've been around a lot of drunk friends who are like, I just need to get home. I need to do it. They hand me the phone. I have to get them home. I get them into the Uber and deal with that. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're seeing. I love Lena Khan. I love her because
I love Lena
that thing that you mentioned, she had, how she explains it is essentially these companies like Google, like even if you have a Gmail right now, go on your Google, look at, start typing a message or go to reply, you'll immediately see an AI summary or like AI reply suggested for you. They added that early. And then if you don't know, like I didn't know what to do. So I just like pressed something and it ended up like filling it. I'm like, I don't want that there. Like, why can I write my message, please?
Yeah,
but
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But she basically, how she explains it is that this company, Google, is reading your emails now, because now AI is reading it, obviously. They're reading it, and then they're going to sell that data. So if you get an email from like what you're saying, if they get an email from a family member saying a family member died and you need to go to a funeral, they know that. They can sell that to, or they can use that in Google Flights. So they know that now, or they sell it to other people. So other people know that. And they're essentially just going to increase the price, and they're going to get to that pain point. How much are you willing to pay, or how much can you pay? And then how much are you willing to pay, and then raise the price a little bit more. That's what we see.
It's absolutely ridiculous and criminal. It just, you know, there's no way that they should be able to do that.
Well, maybe part of the solution is getting putting money into some of those aggregate sites that compare the prices right now. Like if you see all the prices of certain airlines that are in competition with each other, they're going to have to be, they can't be wildly apart, right?
Yeah, you will notice that.
Yeah, one of my ideas that I mentioned earlier was making sure we have a competitor on the government if the private corporations are doing it, but also making sure we regulate these companies, making sure that they can't collect all this data and sell it all around the country, because that's a huge market. That's why Oracle makes a lot of money.
I mean, just picture it, guys, chat, right? Everybody. Picture having a public option for an airline that is based on like the cost of the airline doing business with a little bit of profit, you know what I mean? So that they can pay the workers and like all that kind of stuff as a competitor. That means these private airlines would not be able to price gouge us because we would notice right away, right? They would have to stay somewhere around what the public option would be. And that's for everything. That's why, you know, they've been talking about a public option for healthcare for a long time, right? Like we could do that. It's so ridiculous. Oh, well, who's going to pay for that? It's going to pay for itself. If a company can run a company, the government can run a company.
We need to
pay for it.
But the thing about that, the thing that I think would hold that up is not who will pay for it. That's just the thing they throw out there. This is something that we would have to do. Like we need to prioritize things that need to be done while we have all the control, because big government will big business will shut that down, right? Right now, it would never work. I don't care how many House Republicans and Democrats work together bipartisanly for a bill. That shit would crash and burn faster than Frontier, because the airline companies, their CEOs and these other companies that have these fiduciary responsibilities, who need their shares to keep going up and up and up, that's going to cause a huge hit to their bottom line. We have to start looking at the problem from their objection, what the objection truly is, not just what would be the best thing for the people, how much power do we have, and how do we need to control what's really driving their objection, which is always going to be profits.
Yeah, and well, it's not just profits though, Stace, it's them being able to maximize their profits at every turn without any kind of stricture or obstacle. That's their objection.
Us putting structure in is going to cap their profit. Even if we build some in for them, they're like, no, I want as many profits as I want, not as many as you say I can have.
Dude, someone also said in chat earlier when I was talking about limitations on it. They essentially they have a fiduciary duty to maximize profits, to make more money or to maximize shareholder value. And that's what they're going off of. But they focus on the immediate time. They focus on how much can I make this quarter? How much can I make this next quarter? They're not thinking 5 years down the line. They're not thinking a year from now. They're not thinking 10 years from now. And that's why we're being beat by other countries who are building housing, who are building things. Like I grew up hearing about China having ghost towns, ghost cities being built, and no one's living in them. Well, now people are living in them, because that was supposed to happen a few years down the line once they get it built and people start working, kids start graduating, people start working. It's that type of
like you said, they were thinking 10 steps ahead, right? That's why you have those counts. They were thinking 10 steps ahead. And I know you have to go soon. So I one of the last questions, and it kind of like feeds into that, is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court a lot, and I wanted to make sure we asked you this question, and I would love if you like came back like in like a week or two or whatever, like whatever, or just whenever you want to, just to talk to us, because I am having so much fun talking to you.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, y'all need to get a room. My goodness.
I'm sorry, you're not enjoying this conversation, Stacey?
I am, but I'm like, wow, y'all are kismet spirits.
Yeah, yeah, it's just because this is my thing, right? I'm a statistician for the Department of Labor, and I love the economy, and that's my thing that I talk about all the time, you know, progressive policy and law and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's like you're speaking my language. This is what she's trying to say. You're speaking my language and I'm speaking yours. I think that's what it is. So, but the Supreme Court, what is your plan? I mean, obviously it just can't stay as it is, this political arm where there's no ethics rules. They're just able to buy it off. And I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. John Roberts trying to convince us that it's not political. Like, dude, who are you talking to?
It was like balls too, and just celebrating it. It's insane. It's crazy. That was actually Kavanaugh. Like I mentioned earlier, Kavanaugh was my radicalizing point. I was focused on studying the law, and I was like, "What is going on here? Like this guy's not going to do anything for us." Like he also seemed like a little credible stuff against him, but we also saw that with Thomas too. And Thomas,
Nobody believed women back then. Not even a thought.
I would argue people don't even believe them now, but I mean,
well, they don't, but they really didn't then.
Yeah, but it's crazy. For the Supreme Court, we need to do multifaceted. The federal government needs to come in and we need to enforce these ethics. We need to come in and enforce it. They are not capable of doing it themselves. Was it Thomas? Thomas, his wife, very much was a part of the January 6th involvement of busing people up here. And he didn't recuse himself. We need to check these people because they are so power hungry. It is insane reading these opinions. Like Scalia, I imagine him crying as he's talking about how gay people shouldn't exist. Like I imagine him like sitting at his desk, like crying, just fiercely writing. It's crazy the way he writes his opinions. And I'm just thinking like we need to have an ethics control, but also what the federal government can do, what Congress can do. We can pass a bill that says we're setting the seats for the Supreme Court. That's how it's done. And we threaten them. Say, if you don't get in line, we're going to increase the seats. We're going to then get a president who then comes in and fills those seats with actual people who are good, like Ketanji Brown Jackson, and then hope that we get more Democrats who then say that is right, and then we need to do that, and then we get a president who agrees, because we're in a Supreme Court system that is essentially going to destroy my future, my kids' futures. And that is something I noticed when we studied the Reconstruction era, Jim Crow. We saw Supreme Courts who were essentially just it takes a year. I'm jealous of Republicans. I know it's kind of going off. I'm so jealous of Republicans. They get stuff done, even if it's the worst thing ever. They get it done. That's why Trump is popular, because he'll say it, then he'll go and do it. It can be the craziest thing. And that's what I wanted Kamala to say. Just say you'll go against the war. Say you won't support genocide. Say you will fight corporate greed. Say that you are the peace candidate, for God's sake, because he is saying it, and we need to be an opposition party, and we know that he's not going to be a peace candidate because we saw it years ago. But the corporate captured. But essentially, that's tangent. But the Supreme Court is a very powerful wing, and they're being political now. They're very political, and having 3 judges who are essentially just fighting for their lives to keep it going, to keep whatever democracy. Their dissents are beautiful. A lot of them. Kagan had an amazing one. But it's this insanity, because Kavanaugh is the reason why we have ICE destroying our communities right now. Because in September he essentially said you can go after people for sorry, the light's in my eye right now. You can go after people for their race, color, for if they're around a place
and then tried to walk it back in some other ruling that had nothing to do with it. He's like, oh well, I didn't mean you could racially profile. Yeah, dude, that's exactly what you said. What are you talking about?
What are these police officers going to do? They're just going to, well, we see it perfectly. Twitter was not amazing, but it was a time, like I was studying for the bar at that time. I was sitting down at my desk, studying for the bar, studying constitutional law, how the government is supposed to be acting, how police are supposed to be acting. ICE isn't police, but how government agencies are supposed to be treating us. And essentially, I would go to bed, go on Twitter, scroll up, and see everything I just studied getting broken. And I'm like, this is insane. And that kind of drove me insane when I was studying law, actually. In the legal system, when you're around a lot of attorneys like I am, you start feeling the sense of these people they have a linear view of like, when something goes wrong, they're going to get checked, because we have a checks and balances. But it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen for everyone. It doesn't happen for a lot of the minority groups, especially when you're studying these laws. You're like, oh, are they you're reading this case, you're like, oh, could they have just been like in the wrong place at the wrong time? And then a cop who is racist comes by and just is like, I'm going to stop that guy. And it's that type of system that makes people feel like there's no hope for us. There's nothing that's going to come for us. Like, no one's going to save us. And I started feeling a little bit, I was never nihilistic, but I started feeling like, is everything right? Or is everything that they're saying right? Like, can progressives not win? Can progressive ideology not work? And then I saw Zoran win. And I was celebrating in my DC apartment with my girlfriend and my cats running around. I was jumping up and down. It was crazy. I was like, the blueprint is there. People understand the message. It's just that we got to get to them, and we got to get people who can say it, because people care about it. Because as much as these companies want to put money into our elections, and AIPAC wants to put money in our elections, they still need to convince people to vote. They still need to get people to go out. And so I decided to run because I want to see that change. I want to witness it, because I heard no one in this district saying it. I saw that Pete Aguilar is the number 3 Democrat. That made me so mad, because then you hear people say that I hear him fighting for us, but he's not fighting for us. He's not doing anything for us. He's just doing enough to get by so that he can climb the ladder. Because right now he's going for whip, actually. I heard that.
I didn't know. That doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah, I heard
they have a lot of power. For people who don't know what the whip is, they whip the caucus into place, right, in the House or the Senate. Like, they whip votes. They like get the votes together that they need, right? Or tell people not to vote, or say you're going to vote this way and you're going to vote that way. And they have a lot of power.
A lot of power. He's Democratic caucus lead right now. He's the number 3 Democrat. You go on AIPAC's website, he's one of the 6 names, because they claim to own the entire leadership of both parties. And he's actually the first name that shows up when you try to donate.
I'm not surprised that they're bragging about it. I really am not.
But it's yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Lisa, I wanted you to kind of talk to him about, since we're talking about the Supreme Court, our thoughts and ideas, as is touted by Terry so eloquently, who is.
Yeah, so Terry, T-Dubs, he usually is here, so I'm sure he's busy tonight, but he always has a couple questions. One of them is, what are you going to do about call time? Like, are you going to be, when the Democrats tell you to go ahead and start calling up donors? Like, because I know you don't take corporate money and PAC money and all the things. So what are you going to do if they say, we're not giving you a committee assignment unless, you go here and call these donors? The second thing is he suggests that we changed the structure of the Supreme Court so that there's one justice for each of the circuits, each of the different, circuit courts.
It's how it works, actually. The circuit court system, essentially, judges are assigned certain circuits. Like, they preside over a few of them, and then they get the appeals, they read them, and it's a whole process. But they're already assigned to certain circuits, so they read everything.
He means one for each of the different, what is there, 13 or 15
judges. 13 judges.
Yeah, so one for each of the circuits, one for each of the 13 circuits. So, like, the different things. So, that justice would have to come from that, area, that geographic area, and we would have a different way of picking them that is not the Federalist Society.
Right.
You can talk about the Federalist Society so much.
All day. I know. Absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
For anyone who doesn't know, Federalist Society they go to every school, every law school. They basically create conservatives and they promote them to then get into law firms, get into big law firms, get into a society, and then essentially put them into judgeships. put
And
them
they
all
indoctrinate
around.
all the time.
Yeah, they indoctrinate them into this Christian nationalist PAL memo, like ideology, right? I mean, they really do. They're like, they show them the PAL memo. They're like, look, this and project, the project for leadership, whatever that year is. And they're like, this is our plan. This is the outcome that we want. Now go pretzel yourself to try to find some precedent or find some, little something that one of the founders wrote, or some judge wrote in England in 1756, and then make it make sense so you can undo this, or so you can get us this, this outcome. Like that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
You reward it. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. I mean, the push is to make it 13 seats anyway.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I'd be open to considering that and how the logistics work out. I just know law students will hate their lives because of how many opinions they'll have to read. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
if it makes it more democratic, if it makes it better, I'm all for it, because we need a system that is accountable to the people.
I even considered like having 13 justices and then having 9 selected at random on a given case, so that you never know which ones are good. You know what I mean? Like, and like have it so that it's really hard to pay people off. It's really hard to influence because you never know who's going to hear what. Also, there's some ideas I have about removing the jurisdiction over voting and campaign finance from the Supreme Court, because Congress can do that.
Right.
They can remove the jurisdiction and maybe putting it under like a nonpartisan, right? A nonpartisan like commission type thing that is rotated out, that is like kind of like a grand jury, like a federal grand jury or whatever, is selected. Like, oh, there's a case coming up, and judges and lawyers, constitutional lawyers and stuff are selected at random to come hear this case on the, and something like that, it just to make it really, really difficult to influence people, to buy them off, because how are you going to know who's selected, right?
About that, because that is sometimes how it works around, like when you're a lot of law firms try and venue shop a lot of things, so they'll try
Right.
find people in certain areas. Like Rosa Parks, she was essentially like, that was a test case. You go and try and find the perfect client or the perfect person to then go and do a certain thing, break a law, and then you challenge it that way through the system.
Yes.
But also sometimes judges are assigned it and random, but that's beside the point. But yeah, it's all different things that can work, or that can be something that we can try out or at least discuss.
Yeah.
I think there is a need for change. This system doesn't work right now. We also, what I hear is actually a few people have described it, is we have a staggered term limit system. So everyone gets, I think, like every president gets like 1 or 2.
I think Plattner came up with that, an 18-year staggered term limit thing. Yeah, each president would get at least 1, right? But yeah, it would be harder, right? It would be a lot harder for them to do a Mitch McConnell. It would be a lot harder for them to, do some of the dirty tricks that they played if you're dealing with something like that. And if their term is up in 18 years, they don't get dug in knowing that they're safe and no matter what they do, right?
And then also the revocation of judges, the Supreme Court's jurisdiction already happened during Reconstruction. They've already done it.
Yep.
So it's using the exception clause. It's not a theory. It's already been done. So we need to remind the people that it's already been done. This isn't something that needs to be cooked up.
Some radical wet dream or something that we've cooked up.
They took habeas corpus. They were like, y'all are on one. And so no, you don't get to hear habeas corpus issues because y'all don't know how to act. Y'all a bunch of racist pieces of shit. So we've already done it. We can do it again. So I like the idea.
That was a great
FDR also threatened packing the seats when the New Deal, a lot of measures weren't being approved by the Supreme Court. He's like, well, then I'm going to pack. You're going to lose your power. We don't and they get threatened because these guys are.
He pretty much
very
ignored
elitist.
them. Yeah, he pretty much
They're
ignored them, and he's
very
like, "We're gonna do it anyway."
Yeah.
They're very elitist. They'll end up being like, we want to protect our institution. We need to
Yeah.
make sure the Supreme Court.
Well, that's why I like the 13 justices in accordance with the 13 circuits, because it's not arbitrary. I've always been against packing the court until I heard T's perspective, because it was like, well, we're going to say 13 and they're going to say 18 and it's just going to keep going. But this being a very logical way of doing it, something that makes sense in accordance to the laws and the structure that we already have, it's not arbitrary. And it's fair. Like Lisa talks all the time about appealing to people's sense of fairness.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the fact of like it's that death loop of like, or the race to the bottom essentially. But we're seeing that in the voting with gerrymandering right now. Democrats want to end gerrymandering, but Republicans started doing a whole thing where we're gonna do it in Texas, we're gonna do it over here, we're gonna destroy Democratic seats because we're fearing that we're gonna lose election because we suck so much. And then 2 states decided, let's try this out. Let's give it to voters. Let's have them vote on it. Because the other states, the Republican states, no one's voted on it. But California and Virginia did. And then in Virginia, it's overturned already. And then it's like it's a race to the bottom, but Republicans were attacking California and Virginia, but at least the people voted for it.
Yes.
Even if it was like 50.1% people voted for it, but in Texas, they didn't vote for it. They're just, and in Tennessee, they closed the doors on that black representative. It was insane. Like that's the type of fight we need from these politicians, saying that we're gonna freaking yell at you, we're gonna force our way through these doors, or we're gonna get kicked out and handcuffed, and then we're gonna be on the news because people are gonna start seeing that you are restricting us, and then you're gonna see photojournalists who are doing an amazing job in those areas, who are showing us what is happening, showing it, and then putting it right next to what happened in like 50 years ago, how they were treating black representatives, the few that were there, and also how they were treating protesters. Like, it's insane. And Justin Jones.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the fact that we live in this era, you know, where everybody's got a phone now, and where we have our, you know, information and stuff and knowledge at our fingertips, and so they are not able to do this, you know, in the dark anymore like they used to, right? Everybody knows what they're doing, even if they do try to close the door, you know, even if they do try to be sneaky about it. And I feel like they are starting to wonder. I do believe Republicans are starting to wonder whether they bit off more than they could chew with this whole redistricting fight.
They dummy mandered it.
Yeah, they certainly did, because Texas is like looking at their maps a little side-eyed now, because they're like, yeah, we diluted the Democratic vote, but we also diluted our safe Republican districts in a wave election year, where the pendulum is swinging to the left hard by an average of 13 points. And we actually might have screwed ourselves in this, where you have Louisiana, who really wanted to put that 6-0 map up. They really did. Louisiana wanted that 6-0 map. And then they saw that, they took a look at the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Friday. And they were like, put one back. We better put one back, one of those, you know, black majority districts back, and at least give them one, because, you know, we do not want to have a situation where black voters are energized in a state that has a 30% black community.
Yeah, and I also believe they don't care. There's that thought that they have, like they want to protect their safe seats, because I'm sure those representatives don't want to lose their seats either. But I also think they don't care. They know that the Democratic establishment is weak, and they don't have a message. They know that they can beat them because, I mean, we saw it with the previous election. We essentially gave up everything. Immigration.
We're not the same anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little so I can understand?
Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, so we're not the same anymore, because I feel like people woke up, right? A lot of people woke up, like you and I woke up like over the past couple of years, but a lot of people didn't wake up until after the 2024 election. And they were like, what do you mean she lost? What do you mean he won again? what do you mean? What do you mean that he's firing all these people, Doge and chainsaws and I'm losing my health care, food stamps, like, cruelty. People are getting, pew-pewed in the face on, in Minnesota. Like, it's like it woke people up in such a, it's like cold water in their face. And the electorate, like the voters woke up. But also, I believe that this wave of progressive candidates, you and Matt Gromlich and Mamdani and all these people, Plattner, I think is going to win. Dr. Al Said in Michigan, I'm telling you, that dude is going to win, right? People like Christopher Robb, and just people all across the nation, is a wake-up call to the Democratic establishment. They are starting to feel us breathing down their neck, knocking on their door. And that's why you got people like Cory Booker starting to talk about universal health care, right? Like, you would never have seen that. You would have never have even thought about hearing him say that, before the 2024 election. Whether he's serious, yeah, I don't trust him, right? It's not that we have to trust what he's saying. It's just that he wouldn't even have said it. He would not have been allowed to say it, right? And yes, you know what I'm saying? And also the movement on Palestine and Israel, right? I mean, 75% of the Democratic Party is pro-Palestine now, right? Like, you would not have imagined that before the election, before the 2024 election. And look how many seats that we flipped from red to blue. 34, I think, 34.
That's the important part, because people on the ground, like, this is what you see just by talking to anyone on the street. These politicians are out of touch with what we want. They are essentially voting against our interests all the time. Like, when I went to speak with Indivisible, I essentially said that we're not just fighting against Trump, we're fighting against the disease. He's not the disease, he's the worst symptom of it. We're fighting against the corporate interest. Yeah.
Stacey said he's the cold sore.
Yeah, cold sore, yeah. He's what comes after. But like, I know you guys probably hear about Chad Bianco running for governor out here. He's the neighboring county to us over here. He's right next door. People are gonna do the exact same thing because they saw a blueprint that worked, and they're gonna go for it. They're gonna push that system. They're gonna say there's things like fraud. I read that sheet, what we can talk about and what we can't. But that's what's coming next. And it's going to be a bunch of people who saw it work and say, I'm going to do the exact same thing and see if it works. But they're also soulless people who no one likes. Also, the newer generation is like, well, we're suffering. Mm-hmm. We don't believe in the Republicans, but we also don't believe in the Democrats. That's where progressives need to come in and say, hey, we have an option. This is what we can do. Or Democratic Socialists, all these groups saying that the left is a blueprint.
Yes.
Because it's not, you don't need to be like on the left to just think that you should be able to afford groceries and housing and healthcare. You can be all over the place and say that. That's why earlier when we were speaking, Republicans were very receptive when I talked to them about it, because they're also noticing that things are just worse and worse. They voted for Trump because things were worse and worse before. Democrats are voting just party line because vote blue no matter who. I was doing it too. Mm-hmm. Because I thought, just you put these people in power, they'll fight. They'll get.
Well, that's what it was. The vote blue no matter who. They just waited to be given that blue candidate, right? Right. But and the thing is, we need to vote for Democrats up and down the ticket, right? We cannot let Republicans even have one seat. Absolutely not, right? No matter what. But us getting involved in the primaries, and that's why Stacey and I started wanting to have conversations and boost progressive candidates, because to us, this is the most important part. This is the most important part, is giving people a candidate they can vote for, they can cheer for, they can feel like represents them. They can feel like somebody who really understands what they're dealing with, what their issues are, what they're facing every day, and really wants to help fix it and is going there to fix it, right? And that's what we want to happen, right? And that's, I absolutely had a ball talking to you tonight. And I would love if you would come back, like when you can, when you get some free time. When is your primary?
Primary is June 2nd. It's coming up very close.
June 2nd. Okay.
June 2nd, but in California, how our primary system works, it's a free-for-all.
Right,
No
it's a
matter what
government
party top two move up. That's why we were scared of having two Republicans make it into the governor's race. But
Yeah.
essentially, that is how it is. And in my current race, it's just me versus Pete on the Democratic side, and then there's 4 Republicans running, and then there's a no party affiliate running.
And it's
So
a blue district, right? It's what are we looking at? What does Pete usually net?
Safe blue is +7, but also a lot of people don't vote out here during the primaries as much. There's a good number, but it usually is a good split on the Republican side when I looked at it. And there's a good chance that it's me versus Pete, and then it's us going at it. And then I already talking with groups that would like to get on, but they want to see the primary and how it's going to turn out. But yeah, it's essentially that type of fight. It's gonna go until June, then we'll find out how it goes, and then Rab's done because he's gonna campaign, but all these other progressives, they might be done with their primaries, and then it's time for the people who come in who need a fight for the general.
Right.
So,
yeah. So what has been your campaign like?
my campaign on the ground,
Yeah,
it's been so
like,
I
are you
started
door knocking? Like, where's your focus, right, for your
door
campaign?
knocking. Door knocking period. I am a small grassroots campaign. I'm not taking APAC money. I'm not taking corporate PAC money. I'm never accepting that money ever. And because I never want to see that in our politics. And that's what made me mad as a voter. Like a lot of my positions are because this is where I was when I was a voter. This is what I wanted to hear. This is what I wanted people to hear. When I started running my first event, I went to a lieutenant governor speaking, and I basically voiced it. Like I had just gone on the ballot, but I was like, I'm going to voice about housing because I care about this thing. This guy can do something about it. So I was talking about private equity owning everything that we have and how he wants to do that. And I ended up talking about it so much where this woman who was actually homeless for a large part of her life walked up to me and said, I liked what you had to say. I want to talk with you. I want to ask you a few questions. We talked for a bit. Then I think my answer wasn't as fleshed out as she wanted. So I walked up to her after. I'm like, hey, can we talk about what I noticed that you weren't as excited about my answer. Can we talk about your situation, what you went through, so I can get more informed and understand where the issues are for stuff like that. So I spoke with her about that. But that's how it is. Pete Aguilar doesn't hold town halls. He doesn't do anything because a friend of mine went and complained about his support of Israel, because essentially Pete Aguilar was funded so much. The only reason he won out here was because Muslims supported his campaign, funded him heavily. And he ended up not taking their calls as soon as he started taking APAC money. But I kind of went off on that tangent. But essentially, it is groundwork. I'm working with DSA because I want to see a canvassing network out here. I want to see a big group, but we're building it because everything out here is a little newer. The Democratic establishment has ties out here, but we're fighting that every day and we're building that. And it's going to be a push, but we're going to build a canvassing wing. We already did it. I just was endorsed this weekend by a DSA, and we're going to be on the ground. We're going to hit a lot of homes. I've been hitting a few, and we're going to keep going. It's going to be a long fight, but I'm gonna do the best I can and fight as hard as I can, because the general could be a very good fight. He's not going to want to be on a stage with me. As you guys probably noticed from my conversations, I'm very well informed on this.
So you just got to make the top two. You got to make one that you don't even have to beat him right now. You just got to make second place, right? At least.
And I entered the race on the very last day. The very last day. No one knew about me. No one knew anything about me. 2 weeks after. I'm sorry?
Sneak attack.
Sneak attacks. It worked. But yeah, but essentially, I joined the last day. No one knew anything about me. He didn't know anything. I'm just graduated law school. I'm not like a big name, but I'm getting recognition. People are noticing me, but I just need to work on getting more and more these next few weeks. But also, 2 weeks in, I hear from people that used to fund his campaign 12 years ago, essentially saying that, hey, I'm getting a call from his office saying, can we donate? And that was right after I joined it. A progressive coming in. These guys are scared. These guys are worried because they know progressive messages are strong. They know that the people want change, and they hope that people don't vote. They hope that you become nihilistic. They hope that you stop caring. They hope that you think that your voice doesn't matter. But our voice is so powerful. That is what we're noticing all across the country. Even from years ago, we've seen them fight for suffrage. We've seen them fight for racial equality. And our voice is so powerful where they spend so much money. Like, just look at Massey's election. Massey, Cori Bush, and Jamal Bowman. There's one connecting tissue there with AIPAC. They spend so much because they know that that message wins. They know that it is, and it is. And that is what people are saying, both in the Republican and Democratic side. It's just that we need to get the people running who actually care about the people, who want to get this change, who want to see it for themselves, and want to have a better life, because all of it, we deserve more. There's no reason that Mexico should be beating us on healthcare. I love Scheinbaum. There's no reason for it though, because we are such a wealthy country, and so many other companies, or I keep saying companies, I apologize.
Because it acts like a company. They've been running it like a company. And one of their, they, you know what they've done, and I know that you know what we talk about private equity in here all the time, and what they're doing. And they are essentially they are acting like a private equity firm with the country, with the treasury, with our government, stripping it for parts, exploiting it at every turn, laying it down with debt, right? Loading it up with debt that they're going to walk away from and not have to pay back. And they're going to okay, taxpayers, that's on you to pay back, right? It's like exactly what they are doing. Yes. Yeah. Yes, right. They are literally like a private equity firm stripping a company that they bought.
Private equity is one of my. It's a thing that makes me want to flip the tables, because it is just purely, we're gonna buy this corporation, we're gonna strip it, remove all the assets, and then we're just gonna destroy it, make the product so worse. We're seeing that with Subway. We're seeing that with so many other companies.
Yeah, Toys R Us. Yeah,
they strip it, take as much money as they can, put it on so much debt, and then profit from it, and then sell it for pennies. And then they don't care about that product. They don't care about the workers who were working there. They don't care about the people who grew up like me buying Legos from Toys R Us, who enjoyed it. Like my brother and I had the greatest times going to Toys R Us. We loved it. But that is not the reality. People aren't having that experience. They strip it of all the soul. That's why we see all these companies, they build these stores now to just be generic, so they can put whatever name they need on it. Yeah. But it's that type of thing. It just takes the soul out of it. It takes the humanity out of all of this, and we end up losing our seat at the table, and they end up getting theirs. We get crumbs, they get lobster dinners. It's insane.
Oh, and I don't know if you know this part, but we were just talking about it a few weeks ago in here, about the fact that bad debt that they know is bad debt, because the company just goes under and it can't pay back all those loans they put on it. They're selling those loans to our 401ks, our pensions, our pensions for public servants, for cops and nurses and teachers and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to get stuck with that bad debt.
Yeah, that's essentially what I heard when I was 10 years ago. Is they're gonna run the country like a company, and I'm like, well, why are we putting someone who's bankrupt multiple times on it? But also,
he's a good businessman. Come on, man.
The art of the deal. I just haven't learned what that deal is yet, or what the art is, but it'll come to us once.
Well, you know what? All of these things, we could talk forever about, and the passion is palpable, and we love that. But none of that is going to matter if we don't get blue candidates in. We're going to aim for progressives. We're going to aim for the star. We're aiming for the moon. If we fall short, we land amongst the stars. However that goes. We have to get control of Congress, right? So we're voting progressive, and we're pushing our progressive candidates. And if our progressive candidate doesn't win, we're still voting for the Democratic candidate.
Yeah,
right. And
we're not pulling no craziness. We're not doing protest votes, because this is what I say too. We need, because I believe that you are going to win, and I believe that Matt Gromlich and a lot of people are going to win, and we need to give you a Democratic majority to wield that, right? We're going to need to vote for some of these establishment Democrats, and then you're going to go take them into a back room
As I said,
and
in
grab them by the
beginning,
collar and throw them up against the wall and be like, look,
Threaten them after that we're
Yes.
gonna primary, but or we're not gonna get stuff done. But
yeah, they're like, MFer. Let
Sorry
me
to
tell
interrupt
you
you.
something. Yeah. Like, let me tell you something. I was sent here by the voters. And just because you squeeze by this time, don't think that you're safe. Don't get comfortable in that seat because they have a message for you. They are coming for you next time. They are going to get you next time. So you better get your self all the way together, or you're going to lose your seat. Like that. That's what we need you to do when you get in there. You know, because the thing is, we want you guys to get in there, and then we want you to take the power from those establishment Democrats and be like, yeah, we got this from here. If you want to go with us, you can sit in the back.
yeah.
Right? You can sit in the back and you can follow our lead. If not, you can get out of the way.
And that's the interesting part about my race. I'm 27 years old. I will be the youngest congressman sitting if I am when I am elected. And I will, not many people can say this, but I will top what AOC did in 2018 because Pete Aguilar is the #3 Democrat in the House. When AOC beat that guy, he was the #4 Democrat.
Yeah,
And
she
that sent
did something
waves-
miraculous.
That sent waves through the country, whether you like AOC or not. That sent waves, and that I followed AOC a lot when I was learning about politics. That's what led me to be here. I'm here mainly because of Zoran, but Zoran also credits AOC, and then AOC credits Bernie. Bernie credits Jesse Jackson. I started learning a lot about Jesse Jackson. I didn't know he ran for president, and hearing his speeches, you start hearing how these are just repetitive things, the same issues, the same things they're saying. Like he said it beautifully, like that. I love watching his speeches, but we're dealing with the same exact thing. And I agree with you that we need to get Democrats in office, but I'm also part of the side of we need to fight the system from within.
We do.
Because what I learned in 2020 was that you can get as many Democrats as you can. They'll be obstructionists, but we still need to get the House. We need to show that we can have change, that we can get things passed.
Yes.
And we can show that Democrats are fighting for it.
Yes.
Like when I win, when Abdul Sayed wins, when Graham Plattner wins, when all these other people win who are progressive Democratic socialists, and they say that we deserve more, then people will start listening a lot more. You mentioned having progressives on the stage so we can force them closer to the left. That's it was plain as day if you watch these elections at all. You see Bernie Sanders in 2016. I'm getting spam calls, sorry. You see Bernie Sanders in 2016, and he was there talking about healthcare. It was amazing because everyone was focused on, we need to talk about healthcare now. Hillary was talking about it. Everyone else on the stage was talking about it because they had to. And then when Bernie lost, they forgot about it during the general. They forgot about all of that. They didn't talk about it as much. But then during 2020, Bernie was on the stage. They're talking about. It's the first front and center. Affordability, everything Bernie wanted was being said because he was forcing the party to say it. And then in 2024, we heard nothing about it because we were forced to listen to the party and what they wanted, for what they said we should have.
Well,
and they said no matter what. And then we didn't hear healthcare mentioned. We didn't hear any of them. And that's what drove me into the
Thank you. But yeah, so
I don't understand what that was.
yeah, it was a gift. We hit our goal or whatever, and it cheers and all the things. Thank you, Stacey.
obnoxious.
Yeah, it is a little obnoxious. I cannot figure out how to turn the sound up. But yeah, like I agree. I completely agree. And I think that what is different now is that we have people like you. And my hope is that for the progressives that don't win, that you will stay in the fight, continue to organize in the community and come back for them next time. You know what I mean? And be ready for when they come back, when in 2 years, right? And be ready to hit the ground running, because this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And it's going to take a couple election cycles for us to clean the house, right? To clean the house out and get rid of all these establishment people. And like I said, if they want to change course and they want to start playing by the rules and they get the assignment, they understand, then they can stay, but they got to sit in the back. because we don't trust them to lead anymore. But yeah, like my most fervent wish is that you guys will, the people who win, you guys go in there, you know the assignment, get in there and you know, flip over all the tables. And for the ones who don't, to continue to mobilize in the community and organize in the community and flip over the tables in the community where they need to be flipped, right? And build out that that structure. So the next time, the next election cycle will be a cakewalk, because you will have the trust of the community already.
We're building that canvassing wing. We're building it because it was not existing before out here. In my district, it's very urban sprawl. You see parking lots all over the place. You see the warehouses. You come here, you don't know your neighbor as much unless you're outwardly going out to a bunch of things and making the biggest effort. Like people from LA, I spoke with a few. They moved out here. They felt like they had a community in LA. Out here, they felt like they didn't have anything. And it's that what I want to fight for, because that is how we win. Republicans during that 2024 election, there was always an event happening in a swing state. I know you probably saw it in Penn. There was always an event. Go get a hat, shoot a gun, but yeah, pew pew. You do that, and then you get a free hat, and you're a Republican. You're enjoying. You have a community, and it was everywhere all over the state.
Wow.
And that was a huge report. When I saw that, it drove me insane. But the Democrats, they had one event far away from the main area where they needed to be, and they just didn't. It wasn't the push for it. You don't feel like you have a community, because I honestly feel like they don't want you to. In some cases, that might be my cynicalness, but it's that type of community that people want. We talked about DC, you get a public transit system. You feel like you have a place. You see people around you. You see the neighbors. You see the immigrants that people are saying, or the black, brown immigrant or whatever, that they are targeting and saying that those are the worst people on the planet. You see them in front of you. You see them as normal people. You see them working stores. You see them around you. But when you live in the urban sprawl, it's a little harder to do that. You don't go out as much. You don't see your neighbors. You worry about your family. You're worried about safety of it. But what I want to do in my district is I want to build a public transit system. We have universities out here. I want to make sure we have a centralized social housing system. We build it up, and then we connect it to the universities, so we can get that transit, that community feeling in it by using the multiple universities. They can have their competition, they can have all that, but at least there's people there. You know that you have people you can go to. You know you can step outside, go to the grocery store 2 minutes away, grab something, and go back to your place. Or go downstairs to a bar, walk 15 minutes, or take a bus, take a train if we can get one built out here for that system. But that is what we need. We need a sense of community. We need to create third spaces, because everyone I talk to out here is we need a third space. But also the fight is that we're working more and more no matter what, and our dollar isn't doing as much. And it requires us to do more hours. It requires us to do a lot more. And that is how we fight it. That's why I love antitrust law, because I view that as the biggest way of fighting it. We bring down prices. We hold these companies accountable. We break up the monopolies, and then we make sure that workers are paid a living wage. Yes. They're paid enough so they can raise a family. Because I remember watching TV shows when I was a kid. They were depicting the 70s, where essentially a shoe salesman could own a house and raise a family and have them go to college and do stuff. And I'm like, that sounds beautiful. One job can fund a lot of things. And even if you want to have the other spouse wants to do a job, then that could work out. And it's more if the other parent worked back then, it meant extra money usually for the mom, right? Or she paid for vacation, or she paid for the extras in the house and stuff like that. But it wasn't necessary, right? It wasn't necessary to survive the way it is now, right? You couldn't, if you have a family, it's really hard to make it on one salary. It really is. It's almost impossible. But So I thank you so much for talking with us tonight. It's just been an absolute pleasure. If you would like to come back, before your primary and talk to us again and get your name out there, whatever, just please just reach out.
where can we support you? Like, do you your website? We're going to take your website and put it on my link tree, which is in my bio. We do all the candidates that we talk to, and if we fall in love with you, we put you on there, and we tell people to go there and donate to you.
So my name is Antonis Christodoulou. I'm running California's 33rd district. My website is Antonis for Congress spelled out, no number 4. But my Instagram is Antonis for Congress with the number 4. And yeah, I mainly stick to Instagram because I noticed that a lot more people out here that live out here is mainly Instagram. It seemed like Twitter was more people spread out around the country if I wanted to get that. So I kind of stayed away from that. Also, I had some issues uploading some stuff. So I'm thinking, is my account being messed with? But yeah, essentially, yeah, that's where you can find me. My website has an Act Blue donation, a volunteer. If you know people in the area, tell them. Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga to Redland, San Bernardino County. Tell as many people as you can, because grassroots campaigns are basically built on people. I don't want to accept money from AIPAC. I don't want to accept money from corporations. I will never do it because I don't believe that's how I don't believe that's how it should be done. So support me any way you can, whether it's financially or whether it's by telling everyone you know that is in this area, even if they're like locally in Riverside County or LA. Tell them, hey, I found this guy. If you can come out to his canvassing or events, do that. But yeah. But that's how you can find me. My IG is Antonis for Congress, and my website is Antonis for Congress. And yeah.
Can you say your name again for me slowly? Because you did it real quick, and I was just
Sorry. My name is Antonis Christodoulou.
Christodoulou.
Christodoulou, yes.
Christodoulou.
Yeah, if I give you my middle name, will be even much of a tongue twister.
Oh my God.
30 letters. I had to write a lot when I was a kid because I would forget to write my name on some papers and be like, okay, write 100 times. I'm like, my middle name too? And they're like, now that you said it, yes. I'm like, I should not have said that.
Okay, so Antoni, right?
Antonis.
Yeah, Antoni Christodoulou. I'm trying to say it fast, like that's going to make me say it right. Yeah, okay, I think I got it. Thank you so much. But thank you so much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure. Like I said, if you find you have time and you want to come back on, just reach out to me or Tammy or whatever, and we will get you back on. Okay.
Thank you. I will do so. Thank you everyone for watching. Keep your heads up. Keep fighting the good fight. We're gonna get there.
Yes.
And thank you for having me. I will definitely contact you for that. So thank you. I really appreciate this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
That was wonderful. He was only supposed to stay like a little over an hour, but he stayed longer. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I did. I think that people, like we've talked to a lot of different candidates, right? And some candidates are just very personable and they really understand like healthcare, like they have their thing that they really know a lot about or they're really passionate about. And he is very, very knowledgeable in, he is very knowledgeable in economics and especially the issue of private equity, and that kind of thing. And I think he's going to be such a benefit. He is very much given Jamie Raskin, right? Like that kind of intelligence, that kind of background with economics and law, and like, coming up with fresh ideas to combat some of the most, the most complicated and the most harmful policies and situations and stuff that we have in this country. He does remind me a little of Matt too. Yep.
I hope he endorses if he doesn't win, because I didn't hear him say it.
Yeah. Well, I know. He said, yeah, we got to get Democrats in. Yeah, we got to get Democrats in no matter what. Right. So I realize that trying to force them to say it is like that I'll endorse this other candidate, because I guarantee you Pete Aguilar would never say that. I guarantee you that Cory Booker would never say that, especially what they would never say it, not until the race is over. because by saying I will, and oh yeah, oh no, it's no problem. Yeah, I'll endorse them. You are saying that pretty much they're no different than you, right? Oh yeah, you could take either one of us. Either one of us is good. But so by saying just like generally, yes, we have to vote Democrat up and down the ticket no matter what, right? And then,
I didn't hear him say that.
Oh, I did. Yeah. No, he did. He said we have to vote Democrat up and down the ticket. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I've been thinking about a lot. I've been taking like everybody's, the people in our team chat and stuff, things that that Jen said, like we originally asked the question, we didn't ask them straight out, would they endorse the other candidate? Because there are a lot of problems with that other candidate, right? And it's hard. It's hard for you to say, oh yeah, I'll endorse them if I lose, and then get up on a debate stage and try to convince people that you're better. But like, well, you said that you wouldn't, like, he can't be all that bad. If you're
I'm fine with that. I understand that. I just I need it to be very clear for me when we interview someone that they are not going to get pissy and sit it out if they don't win. I need to make sure that everybody that comes up here isn't talking some page bullshit.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And that's why, it was pissing me off.
Who was pissing? Who's talking?
I don't know.
Rustin.
Oh, Rustin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was annoying.
Yeah, that was a different situation.
I'm fine with not asking them to endorse their candidate because they may need to, be on a debate stage with them. I just need for them to say out of their mouth that I'm not sitting it out. I'm not voting third party or telling my followers to vote third party if I don't win.
Yeah. Well, that's to me, it was like the fact that he was like, yeah, we have to, we are in the two-party system. We don't go outside the party. This is the way to do it. It's, it's for us to take over the party from the inside, which is me and you say all the time. And he said, no, we have to get Democrats in no matter what, because we need the majority in the House and the Senate. So, to me, that was
he was like, he said something like, I'm also someone who believes that we have to, something about the system, which made me kind of look at
that the system's broken.
Yeah. He said something that I was like, what does that mean? But
yeah. And like I said, it's right now is the time to have this fight, right? Right now is the time to talk shit on Pete Aguilar. Right now is the time to talk shit on Cory Booker. Well, he's running unopposed, so he's the guy, whatever. Right now is the time to talk shit on these establishment Democrats, because we're trying to get our Mamdanis in, right? We're trying to get, our Matts and everything in. And then, as long as they like, to me, if we can get them to say, yep, they understand we need a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, and we need to vote blue up and down the ticket regardless, because we have to give our progressives that do win a majority from which to wield their power and to get their policies in place, then I'm fine with that, right? And then once the primary is over, like, I want you to come back on here and talk to us and say and endorse, like after it's all over, like that's what I would like to happen.
If I would be fine not even asking, them to wholly just, I would just want them to speak to, because there's so many people out there. There's so many fucking nihilists. I was listening to the Necessary Conversation. I went and listened to like the podcast part instead of the clips. And I was like, y'all a bunch of far left loony nihilists, right? You're like, it's broken. It's got to burn down. I'm just like, no. And I'm not interested in getting in the fight for you if you are then going to check out on me. On us, like you're gonna basically like spit that back in our face. So I'm not speaking specifically about him. But I feel like it was a tough conversation with Rustin, but it needed to be had. And it was a tough conversation with Paige, but it needed to be had, because I'm hearing more and more and seeing more and more of these people saying how broken the system is,
And it is, yeah. Mhm.
and that it needs to come down. I'm like, great. So, and how are you going to do that? Right. You mean from the inside,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah, they need to start talking about it like Kamala talks about it and Pete Buttigieg. Like, oh yeah, that system is broken. We cannot go back to using that system. We can't just patch up the holes, right? We can't patch with that. It cannot be fixed, right? Because that system was not working for everybody. But we have to build a new system, right? We have to build a new system in its place and not tear it all down and then start from scratch, but build it on while the new system is standing, like how they build a house onto another house, and then when it's all done, then they knock over the old house, right? The structure or whatever, but they use the old house to prop up the new one, like that kind of new system building. Like that's how I picture it in my brain, right? Like using the bones of it, like use the frame. And we're not going to use the actual frame. We're just going to build it right here next to it. We're going to use this to prop it up in the meantime. And as soon as it's up and running and standing on its own and it's strong, we're going to knock all these the structure, the bones of that old racist, white supremacist, misogynist, all the ism, system that was not working for us is going to, go by the wayside.
Yeah, just, I'm a solution-oriented person, so people have to stop living in what's wrong and start really dialing in and focusing on what your plan is. Like, that's what I was asking Rustin. I said, what's your plan, bro? You ain't got no plan? You're just up here bitching and moaning? Nah, we're not doing that. Because there's plenty of people out there that are swiping through who are like, well, what's this guy got to say? Oh, you're running. I feel like it is incumbent upon someone who is running, who is in leadership, to be very clear that sitting it out is not an option, period.
Period.
All down and with everybody in it is not an option, period. And if you don't have ideas for how to fix it, then you don't need to be running.
So,
He was whining, Rachel. But he got it together in the end.
So today I was thinking a lot about what Marnie says, that we have to stop saying harm reduction, right? And Danny said it last night too, right? She was like, we got to stop saying harm reduction. And I was like,
trying to spitball some better way of saying it.
So strategic voting. Strategic voting, like that's, so I've like been playing with it, and this is what the fire analogy, I came up with it over the last couple of days, the one where I was talking about it. So I wrote this like little thing down. Trump and the GOP are often referred to as a dumpster fire, but it's worse than that. They are more like an out of control wildfire. Think of progressives as enough water to put the fire out, and armed with the saplings to replant the entire forest. While we try our best to transport those water and the saplings to, the wildfire, in some places, we may have to settle for a burn line to keep the fire from spreading in that area. That's the establishment Dems. They're the burn line. They got a little pocket full of seeds. It's not exactly enough to put the fire out and then totally replant, but it's enough to contain the fire in like certain spaces and start the process of replanting until we can swing back around the next time with the water in the saplings. Strategic voting, which to me would be preserving the ground we still have left. Those burn lines, right? Voting for those Democrats, establishment Democrats, those burn lines might not put the fire out completely, right? Might not do and completely right the ship, but it will preserve the ground that we still have left. And we've heard of not letting perfect become the enemy of the good. This is more like not letting perfect become the enemy of survivable. We can't sacrifice our most vulnerable to allow things to get bad enough for apathetic people to feel it, that right there comes from a place of privilege, knowing you and yours won't be among those who are sacrificed in the interim. I'm voting to keep the door open for future progress instead of allowing it to be deadbolted shut.
Mhm.
And that's yeah. So strategic voting, and that's what I mean when I say, and that's how I'm going to. Girl, these are my thoughts. This ain't something I'm going to read to everybody. This is me and Stacy's process, right? This is me and Stacy's process.
Don't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean Stacy's process.
Yeah, like no, this is I write down. Oh, yeah. So I write down my thoughts and then I tell them to Stacy, and then Stacy helps me like kind of.
Stacy says, "Girl, that's too long."
Yeah. Yeah. And Stacy's like, okay. And like, you know, her and I will talk about it for a while and then I'll start consolidating it. But my analogy of the fire, right, is a good way to think about it, right? Like, it's like, oh yeah, we want a whole bunch of fire trucks with the water to put the fire out. Of course, right? They're the progressives. They're the firemen, the fire trucks. And the burn line, right, which is what, you know, they'll burn, they'll like, the fire company will come and they'll burn just like a little strip of trees. And because it's already burnt, when the fire gets to it, there's nothing to feed it. And then it just, it peters out, right? Peters out.
If you're gonna make a video or make something about that, I would find another, like I knew what you meant by burn line. I think I knew what you meant by burn line. I've heard it called something else. It's like a burn barrier, something.
Oh, back burn, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think it's a back burn, which again could seem
Oh, Rachel, I get you. All right, I'll work on it.
Yeah, but it does. They do that. They burn stuff because that's fuel, and once the fuel for the fire is not there, like it hits, like you said, the fire hits it, and then it like peters out.
Fire break, yeah, a fire break.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, what you're saying gives enough context to understand what it is. I just think that they have to understand, like you were saying, like, yeah, we keep saying blue wave, blue wave, blue wave. Maybe we stop saying that because that almost intimates that it is washing all of the bad in one fell swoop. It's incremental change. And a lot of people don't want to hear about incremental change. So they're like, I'm tired of incremental change. And, you know, we get 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, and all of that is true, but it's enough. Like, that's why we talk about on the outside, we get you guys from the outside to go in, and then you put them on notice.
Yeah.
It's like, you only are here by the skin of your teeth. If you don't get it together, next time you'll be out. And after like a few cycles, we keep moving forward. We keep progressing. We call ourselves progressives. It's gotta be, we keep progressing. If we aren't continuing to move forward and knocking obstacles, meaning corporate Dems, out of our way or getting them on board, then we're not progressing and we're not living up to our title. So progress by definition is not completion. It's progress.
It's progress, yeah. Yeah, the only thing though, Marnie, with that incremental progress stuff, the comeback is, well, these Democrats are harmful. They're committing harm, right? They're harmful. So you're not making progress because they just want the status quo. So to me, strategic voting, right? Like I'm not just voting for whoever just because. There's a strategy. We have a strategy. And our strategy is it may take more than one election cycle.
Right.
And so we have to, think strategically and think about, that we need a majority. If you have all these progressive candidates in, then you're just going to, we have all these progressive candidates in, then you're just going to have a bunch of progressive candidates in a Republican controlled House. That's not going to do anything.
Right. And that's
Right.
a great way of making it very specific to them. Cause I feel like the people who were like, I'm not doing that, or I'm not whatever, like there's there's that ego is in there, right?
Yeah.
But if you make it about them, we voted to put you in there. We voted to put progressives in there. But if you're in there with a bunch of dickheads,
Yeah.
then these great ideas that you have aren't ever going to be able to come to fruition.
Right.
So we have to continue to do it. It's not for them. It's for you. It's for your ideas. It's for all of us. Stop voting for me and vote for we. All of us. It's not just about you.
They're a placeholder. They are a placeholder until we come back around for them, right? And you will be able to drag that placeholder across the finish line with your when you're trying to push your bill, right? When you're trying to get housing, when you're trying to get minimum wage. You know, you're not doing that with a Republican. That you're not doing that with a Republican. There's no way. But a Democrat in that spot will have enough pressure put on them by the other Democrats. And like with a Republican, they will have an excuse why they're not voting for it because they're Republican. With Democrats, right? Will get it. Like they will freaking be completely inundated with phone calls and people laying on their couch. You know what I mean? Like if they actually try to stand in the way of a progressive with a bill that they're trying to push.
Yeah. Titus, we're not trying to do unoffensive language. We just know that it's kind of being overused and used in not always the right way. And it's kind of triggering people. When we say harm reduction, they're like, fuck harm reduction. I've been voting harm reduction my whole life. Or, you know, my grandparents voted for harm reduction and look where it got us.
They say harm reduction is still harm.
It's still harm, right? So I think just I like the word strategic because like they're always like, oh, we're playing chess and you're playing checkers.
We're playing chess.
Right. That speaks of stratagem, right? So if we're being strategic in and of itself, I mean, like you can teach a monkey how to play checkers, but chess is requires a higher level of understanding. So I like the word strategic in there. If we land on strategic, like Marnie said, it should describe what we're trying to do, not what did it say? Let me see. Describe what it's doing, not what we're doing. What's the vote doing? Which I think is the harm reduction. The vote is reducing harm. But yeah, I like strategic something. I think working something around the work strategic is good. I like it. I like that word.
Yeah. Because it's a strategy. We have a strategy. That's not one and done. That's not the end. See, they think that I think that a lot of people look at it and they believe that we are voting blue no matter who as a means, like that's the end all. Like that, you know, oh yeah, as long as it's blue, it'll be fine, right? It'll be fine. We're gonna get what we came for. But we don't believe that. We have a strategy. Yeah, we have a strategy where we have to have blue because red, like I said, is a locked door. A locked door. Blue, right? Any blue is at least a cracked door.
Yeah.
Right? It's at least, you know, the door might not be all the way open, but the door is cracked. It's an open door, right? It's not dead bolted shut. And that's what we're going to get with Republicans. It's a dead, dead bolt on there, like 5 dead bolts, and then the knob, like that. You ain't going through there with a bulldozer.
Yeah.
But Democrats, right? Any Democrats, even establishment Democrats, at least the door's unlocked. The door, you know, even if it's not swung wide open, the door's unlocked.
And if we are louder, like we are saying we need to be, and transparent, right? This is the other thing that the progressives need to tell the establishments when they get in there. It's like, we are going to put you on full blast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to mum down your ass at every turn.
You're going to be like, we all voted for it. He's the one that that wouldn't,
Yeah.
and we told him that he should, and we told him, all the people in his district, we told him that this amount of people are going to lose their SNAP benefits, and this amount of people are going to lose their food stamps, their health care. This amount of people, yep, we told him. It was him, right? We are going to third grade his ass, and we're going to tell. I'm telling.
Yeah, like
William.
you remember what Mom Donnie did with Hochul and that lady that was in the the legislature over there.
Yeah.
When they didn't want to vote for his tax the rich thing, you see they're taxing the rich over there, right? Because he put them biatches on blast.
We put him on blast. He was like, with a smile, he was like, Governor Hochul, so good to see you. Mayor Mamdani. Yeah. So here's where we are. I would love your help and support for the people of New York City, because the New York City is a part of New York State, and you are the governor of our great state. Governor Hochul. We would love your help. And then he went home. He was like, I told her it's up to her. I don't want to raise taxes, but he made it so that even if he had to raise taxes, the blame would fall on her. We need to just do the same thing with the corporate Dems.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, it's like, I don't want this to happen, and we are all on board. So when this bad thing happens, just know it was him. It was her, right? And when that starts happening, that's what gets the people involved. Because when we just kind of like grandstand a little bit, like when there's a vote on the floor and then we don't hear about it anymore, when it's happening, the lead up to it, that is how you get the voters involved. And they're like, this is your fault, freaking Fetterman. Everybody voted for you. Like, we talk about how he was the holdout, but we don't talk about necessarily the damages that it will do to his constituents. So I don't think we got to worry about Fetterman getting reelected at all.
No. Oh, he is done. I think he knows he's done. Honestly, I think he knows he's done. I think he knew he was done once he had that second stroke or whatever he had. And I think he's just been cashing out, because I really do think that he's making personal decisions, because he used to be a progressive. Remember, he was pretty far on the left. And I feel like he got to a place of fear when his health started to decline, and is like, I need to be able to make all the money that I can for my family, because I might not be able.
I'm not going into the private sector after this. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done either way. Like, I might not survive long enough to finish out my term. And if I do,
he's not.
No, I mean, he has had multiple strokes, right? Anything could happen, right?
I don't think so. He was suffering. He had a stroke, and then he went back out for depression. But there hasn't been any reporting that he's not.
He's got TBI, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. But he got elected into this position, and everybody is so focused on him and his bizarre behavior swing, right? It's like he may have only had one stroke, but it might have been a doozy. And so going into the private sector and applying for a job that's
not happening. Nobody's hiring his ass.
No one's hiring him.
Because he's not even going. It can really mess you up. But what I'm saying is, if it was me, I would be wondering, right? If I had one stroke, I could have another one, right? And it could be a fatal one. And I would be thinking in that vein, like, I have to be able to provide for my family while I still can, just in case. And I think that he decided that he was going to put his family over the country, and that's why he completely sold out. I really do. I believe that.
I mean, we hired the dude running in a hoodie and shorts. We were like, we don't care if you wear your hoodie and shorts. Like, that's how progressive he was.
I think that that's what pisses me off so much about some of these progressives that act like, oh, no, we're not voting for establishment Democrats at all, even if that means we don't get the majority. And it's like, okay, so you'll be okay because you'll have $175,000 salary and health insurance and a pension and access to all the money that you want for you and your family. So you don't really care that the rest of the country will be going to hell in a handbasket.
Right.
Got it. Like, to me, that's what it's like. I just like picture them walking around on Capitol Hill, giving interviews and being all self-righteous and pure and, you know, all this shit. And toes exposed.
I just read that.
I love our people. They're
Rachel.
amazing.
That's
I
funny.
love it. And toes.
I'm looking up. Somebody asked me if anybody is running against the guy that beat Massey. Do we know? Rachel asked.
Yeah, there's a Democrat. There's a Democrat running. Yeah. They said, I think, yo, did you see the numbers on that? I saw a video earlier today where they said, like, when Massey, Massey's previous primary, only like 60 or 65,000 people voted total in the primary. This time, and Massey got like 47,000 votes, something like that. Now this time Massey got, last time he got 37,000 votes. This time he got like 47,000. And the other guy got like 50 something thousand. But so it was like turnout almost doubled on the Republican side. It's very strange, very strange. And even still, there was more Democrats or something that voted in the Democratic primary on the Democratic side. Yeah, it's very, very weird. It's like, I have to actually take a real like close look at it. But it was just a quick video. I'm like, you know, people normally don't vote like that in a primary. Where, like, so are you telling me, you're telling me almost 60,000 people sat it out last time and just voted in the primary this time so that they could vote for Trump's guy? That's what you're telling me? That's weird. It don't seem likely. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
Not for Republicans, not right now. Because even when Trump tells people to vote for a certain candidate, some of them listen, but not all of them, not like that.
Well, I heard that all of the Trump-backed candidates won.
Yeah. And that normally that's what I'm saying. It normally doesn't happen. Because the Republicans, once Trump's in office, they pretty much go sit down because they only really care about Trump. Like during his first term, and even while Biden was in, it was like hit or miss. It was like 50-50, right? Whether the Trump-backed candidate would win. And now they're one, you know, like,
well, recently
1-0, like it's just weird.
Recently, it's become a pattern where we've beaten the Trump-backed candidate.
Yeah. But it's weird that the Republicans, but this is my theory about it. This is what makes sense to me in my head, is that it's because the people that are left in the Republican Party now are just Trump sycophants. Right? So that's why that, like, the people that are left, are, like, a lot of the people left, I think. A lot of people, you know, whether it was Epstein, whether it was the Iran war, whether it was the fact that grocery prices didn't go down, that gas is going up, that he lied about everything, that he's grifting sideways, right? Regardless, I think anybody that was sane that voted for Trump because I always vote Republican or whatever, they have left. A lot of them that voted for Trump in 2024 say they can't vote for Republicans anymore. They said, I'm not voting for a Democrat. Can't bring myself to do that. I'm just not going to vote at all. Like, that's what they're saying. So the only way that I can explain the fact that Trump candidates just keep winning every single time is that the only people left voting in the primary are Trump sycophants. Like, there is no more moderate Republicans left that are voting.
Right. Right. So how does that, so there's not a lot of them. So how?
Yeah, I think that
makes sense that we've been beating Trump-backed candidates.
Yeah.
So last night or Tuesday night,
in the
I think all
primary.
of Trump back candidates won.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It makes sense to me. And I think that there was probably a lot of independents voted for Massey. I think a lot, like it was like independents, people that are independents. And I even heard that there were some like Democrats that registered, temporarily registered as a Republican so that they could vote in the primary for Massey to try to stop Trump's candidate, because it's a very red district.
But how does that make sense to you? If I don't understand how that makes sense. If there's such a small amount of Republicans still supporting Trump,
Because
we've been beating those people up to now.
yeah, but that's just a primary. I'm talking about just in the primary.
I know all of the primaries that we've had and the special elections that we've had up to this point, we've beaten the Trump-backed person. So what was so special about last night? Why all of a sudden did the Trump-backed person beat the Dem?
No, he didn't beat the Dem. Massey is a Republican.
Well, yes.
Yeah, Massey is a Republican. It was a primary. It wasn't a general. So it wasn't Democrats going against Republicans.
Right.
So it was Republicans against the Republicans. And when I looked at it, I'm like, well, 2 years ago, when Massey ran in his primary, there was only like 60,000 votes total. This time there was like 115,000 votes total. So double, like almost double, right?
Yeah.
So where did those people come from? And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I think because the Trump-backed candidate never, like I said, it was hit or miss. It was 50-50 whether the Trump-backed candidate will win. I was like, the only way that makes sense is that a lot of the Republicans who would normally vote, vote in a Republican primary are just not voting. They're like done. They're like, I'm not voting at all because I can't bring myself to vote for a Democrat. In this case, though, I think that they did get out and vote because there was such a push to vote for Massey, and I think that they wanted an opportunity to vote against Trump. So I think that the people that voted for Massey are moderate, right, Republicans and same Republicans or whatever that are done, but they voted for Massey. That's why you got like double, like it looks like it doubled. I think that a lot of the right-leaning independents also voted for Massey, right? They temporarily, a lot signed up for the party to vote for Massey. That's how you get double the amount. Where mostly people really didn't worry about the primaries, but people are starting to worry about the primaries, right? They're seeing that these, like the primaries, are actually almost more important than the generals sometimes. Especially when it's a safe seat. If it's a safe Republican seat, the Republican primary is the most important race. If it's a safe Democrat seat, the Democratic primary is the most important race because that's where you're going to get your real choice. Because if it's a safe Democrat seat, say it's a plus 20 Democrat, the Democrat's going to win. So whoever wins the Democratic primary pretty much won the seat. Like Ana Lilia Mejia, once she won that Democratic primary, she had the seat because it was a Dem plus 20 district.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I think that people put all their eggs in the Republican primary basket. So I think a lot of people that normally would not have voted in the Republican primary, such as Democrats, that wanted to help Massey just to go against Trump, and independents that wanted to help Massey and go against Trump. That's why you got, like I said, almost 120, like almost double what normally votes. And
that totally makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. Even though he lost, somebody else lost too.
who else
was it? But it's like, well, they can recall.
Senator, Cassidy.
They can cause all kinds of problems now.
Oh, Cassidy already did. He already voted for the war resolution discharge thing. And now John Cornyn too, because Trump backed Ken Paxton.
They don't think they. What
And
kind
Fox
of party
News.
chess is that? That's called force.
Thank you, Reyes. Oh, I know Reyes' first name, but I'm not going to say it on here. Yeah, I will after this. Yeah. So
Yeah, that is like not something that they probably were thinking about, right? They're probably like, just like the dummy mandering. You're like,
yes. Hmm.
oh, wait a minute.
Like, what do we do here? Oh, I think we shouldn't have.
Cornyn's like, hey buddy, how you doing? How's it going? Watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Massey's like, what's up? Watch this. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's coming up too. That I think it's like June, the first week of June, right? I think it's the first week of June is the Texas Republican runoff with John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And once that's over, Cornyn really is going to have time to get petty. Yes, Rachel. It's going to be
here for the petty
time. Yep. It's going to be petty time. So, and could you imagine if John Cornyn decided to endorse Tallarico? Do you know that the anchors on Newsmax and Fox News were like, what is he doing? Why did he pick Paxton? He like, what is he trying to do? Hand the whole thing to Tallarico? And the betting markets, you know, they keep talking about Polymarket and all that. Tallarico just went into the win column in the betting market. So people are putting money on the fact that they think Tallarico is going to win the Senate race now, because I don't know too much about Ken Paxton, but I know Jess and Nichelle do, and I'm hoping. I know that Jess is Jessica Simone, guys, that she's trying to get her like new internet and everything together. So, you know, so she can come back on. And so, but I hope she does an entire thing on Ken Paxton, because just from little things that they have said, like that dude has done some crazy effed up stuff.
He's very much so aligned with Trump. I think that he's trying to rename, or was that somebody else? Rename a street down there, like Highway 47 right after Trump or something. Like he's just done things that are very unpopular just to be sucking up to Trump. Yeah. Whereas Cornyn was trying to be a little bit more fair and balanced, in air quotes, for
normal, right? He's normal.
They didn't want, you were concerned about Cornyn winning because it's like he's gonna be harder to beat than Paxton, because people like Paxton's got that Trump stank on it.
Yeah. And he did some kind of corruption thing. Like he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar when he was like, I think he was like the deputy, not deputy, like lieutenant governor, or I don't know. He was some seat somewhere, and he did have a messy divorce, and it was like really messed up. And hey, Kathy, and also there was like some kind of corruption thing that he did that was really messed up and really bad. And yeah, so there was like a few things. So guys, we are like, I think we're looking pretty good on the tube of you. Like I really do. Yeah, like it looks pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I like it. And you know, Farah and Jen both went over and they were like, yeah, it sounds good. The funny thing is, like on my StreamYard screen, I can see if anybody puts a comment on, you know, I don't have to actually go to YouTube to like see the comments and like answer people. So it's kind of cool. Like, I guess, I don't know if they like, if there's like requesting up. I don't know. It's just weird.
I don't think you can request. Oh, you just do, they can do like super chat where like they send money and then you can read their.
Right. I think that's why some people have, hey, BJ.
Hey, BJ.
You think that Cornyn's going to beat Paxton? Huh. You still think he will, even though Trump endorsed Paxton? Because the Republicans have really been listening to Trump when Trump tells them to vote for a certain candidate.
Be right back.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that's why some of the people have like a phone number that they put up. Is he really trash? See, I know I had heard some stuff from, you know, Texas people, from Texas residents and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that Paxton is like the boogeyman. Like he really is like a monster. Like he's like a criminal, right? Like he's like Trump. And the thing is too, that nobody can get away with being Trump except for Trump. And I know that sounds weird, but that's been that's how it's been, right? Like Trump can be as Trumpy as he wants to be. But if somebody else like tries to do some like grifting thing or do some, cheating thing or any of that, yeah, he's still the AG, Rachel. He's still the AG. He's the one, even though he was running in the race, he's the one who went to court to stop people from voting in Dallas County and another like Democratic stronghold because they wanted people, they didn't want people going in there and voting for Jasmine Crockett. Houston, yeah. So yeah, they didn't want, they wanted to cause an issue and didn't want Black people voting, right? They wanted to pretty much spit in Black people's faces and say, oh, because they are Black, majority Black districts, right? Areas, they are cities, like, major cities. So yeah, it's like this is how they do now, right? This is how they do. The racism, they're not happy with dog whistles anymore, right? And undercover racism. They like their racism like hot, right out there in the open, where everybody can see it, where it's plain, right? It's plain as day. They don't want no subtlety no more.
Piping hot, fresh out the oven.
Fresh out the oven, racist.
Fresh out the oven, fresh from the bakery.
Yeah, fresh from the bakery. They really, I mean, it's really crazy the way they've been going out of their way. It's so bizarre. It's almost like it almost rises to the level of performance.
Well, you know what? Like Danny was saying today, this is their unalive. Like when we were talking about the last vestiges, she had somebody, I was like swiping through Facebook and she was on as I was trying to get ready to go to work. And she was talking about how she had this woman on talking about when people are close to unaliving, like when that time gets there. And she was talking about the rally that people who are coming to the end of their life, they have this burst of energy. Mm-hmm. And it almost seems like, I mean, my mom had it, my dad had it. It seems like it's like, oh, they're well. Like we brought my dad home from hospice. I mean, I went in to see him. He was sitting up eating his dinner, asked me to go get him some salt. I was like, what? I called my stepmom. I was like, he's asking for salt, Mom. And they took him home, right? So you get this burst of energy sometimes.
Yeah.
That's when you know the end is coming. And she said that is
burst, they're calling it. They're calling it an extinction burst.
Yeah, yeah. That is what's happening with them. And that is like the last vestiges are like gasping, the last gasps. Mm-hmm. That's why they're so out and proud about it. They're like, why not? Swinging for the fences. Swing away, Meryl. Swing away.
No, for real. And also I feel like they've been holding this back. Like they've been having to hold it in this entire time.
Yep.
And they're like, we got our trophy back. We got our white man trophy back. Look at it, it's all shiny. Because they felt like they were never going to get it back. They looked at Barack Obama and they said, oh, we're never getting it back. And that's why they flipped out, right? That's why they had a whole ass toddler temper tantrum, because they saw Barack Obama as somebody who came and took their white man participation trophy.
But I don't think this is them like excited about having their participation trophy. This is like the person that you're trying to rescue from drowning that's pulling you under. Like
Yeah.
they are just flailing. They are flailing because they know they're failing miserably.
But I think that's what it is. Like they're trying to say, oh, look how shiny the trophy is. Look, see, we got it back. But they don't really believe it. They know it's not true. They know it's a mirage, right? That that they're actually losing it, but they're trying to pretend we're back, right? That's why that's why they come in here and say Trump 2028 and Trump your daddy, like, you know, and stuff like that, because they're not trying to convince us. They're trying to convince themselves.
So yeah. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Space.
Yeah.
I just walk in and find you here with that sad look upon your face.
You know, fake it till you make it. Exactly, Rachel. They are performing it. They are performing it. Yes, VJ. Too many people know the truth now, and too many people can see it. Like they went, you know, they went way over the top, way too far, talking about repealing the 19th Amendment, talking about, you know, household voting where the man only votes with all the red pill shit. They went too far with that. And that's why you were seeing all these Republican women, Democratic women, whatever, walking away from their MAGA husbands, or even husbands that aren't full MAGA, but are saying, I don't see what the big deal is. Like they just got to fix their mouth to say, I don't know what the big deal is. And she's out of there. I mean, that's really what like, that's really happening. Like the stories are all over TikTok. And then you also have the people that were, you know, that were kind of okay with the undercover racism, with the dog whistles that you couldn't quite see and you couldn't quite pinpoint it, and they could like excuse it away, right? And ration it away and rationalize it away. But this, you know, putting the Obamas, you know, the president and the first lady's heads on monkeys, like that was, they can't explain that away. You know, firing all these Black women, they can't, you know, trying to rewrite history, saying diversity is a bad word, trying to remove, trying to make it so that people can't say Black or diversity or urban or, you know, underprivileged or socioeconomic or woman or anything in any kind of grant application.
They did too much too fast.
They did too much too fast.
Because it gave a lot of time for people like us to explain it, right? And it gave a lot of time for the Black people to be out of their positions, but the white folks to still not go anywhere. So they could be like, hey, I thought, shouldn't I be vice president by now? Shouldn't I have your job by now? I am white. I am from Central Casting. Where is my job? Where is my job?
Central Casting.
I am from Central Casting. Daddy Trump said that meant, you know, that carried a lot of weight with all these DEI hires out of here. Yeah, they let too much time, like the lull, for people to figure it out and to realize it wasn't doing for them what they were promised it would do for them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, is that they got their participation trophy back, and it's supposed to have this intrinsic value. It's supposed to open up all the doors. They're supposed to get the job. They're supposed to get the promotion. They're supposed to get the woman, like all the things. And it's not working. Like it doesn't work anymore. It has no superpower.
No, it's supposed to be a solid gold statue, and it's like hollow fake chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of those chocolate bunnies.
Yeah, it's not even good chocolate. That bullshit chocolate.
Yeah, it's just got like, you know, gold foil on it.
Yeah.
And so it's not working because, you know, we're in a different time. Like people aren't like that. Companies aren't like that. They are hiring the best person. They are hiring people, you know, they keep talking about, we stopped, you know, merit and all this stuff. That's all we've been doing, right? Like that's what DEIA was ensuring merit. And they could not hang. They were getting left behind. in a society that held merit up above everything else. They were literally, hey, Michael, hello, my friend. They were literally getting left behind because they were mediocre, right? They were used to all doors opening to them because they were white and male, and that's why they keep trying to give them reparations, like right, like you got the EEOC, right, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, saying if you're a white man and you've been harmed by DEIA policies, right? If you've been harmed, if you got passed over for a promotion, if you didn't get a job and you believe it's because of DEIA policies, give us
less
a
than
call.
$1 a day. You too. In the arms of the racist, far away from here.
Yeah. So, I mean, they actually they did a public service announcement. They really did a PSA saying, come and we will get you some money for that. And apparently, that it wasn't going to hold up in court, so that they're trying to do it another way. And that was the slush fund, right? That was the slush fund. But it looks like right before we went on, I heard that the Senate stopped it. The Senate unalived that bill. So, I just want people to understand that, for one, Cassidy has been let loose because he's like done with the shit. So that's going to be a real effing problem for Republicans. But also, Republicans from now until November are going to be on their best behavior. You're going to see a whole new side of them. You're going to think that they are brand new out, right? You're going to be like, what? Where the fuck you been? It's for show. They are doing all this for show. Like, I would not be surprised if they cooked up this entire slush fund thing to give Republicans something to vote against, to go against Donald Trump, so that they can try to hold on to a couple seats. I swear to God. Like, they have done shit like this before. And then it would come out a couple weeks later that it was all a ruse. It was all set up to try to help Republicans in the midterms. So would not be surprised, like, because it was really outrageous. It really was, right? The entire thing was outrageous. 1776. Huh?
Yeah. I said stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah, stranger things have happened, but it was really over the top, right? Trump or his family or his businesses can never be ever, right? They could never look into their taxes, or they can't be what the frick? Yeah, it is too late, BJ. Yeah. No.
Well, that was what the necessary conversation with the libsibs, as they call themselves, were saying. Like, he was saying, well, it's over, it's done. They can do whatever they want because they can't be. And the sister was like, there's going to be a new president, new cabinet, new DOJ. He's like, yeah, but the deal is signed. I'm like, if they can undo the VRA, we can undo this unconstitutional bullshit. Give me a break.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. And the thing is, a deal like that has to be signed off on by a judge, and it wasn't. And so all like the Democrats would have to do is be like, yes, this wasn't signed off on by a judge, and it would be vacated. So yeah, the whole thing, just, to me, it was very much giving performance. It was very much giving look, be loyal, because look what I'm willing to do for you, even though it'll never never get any money. But they'll be like, oh, look, Trump can be loyal to the people that are loyal to him. See, he tried to get us this money. See, he pardoned us.
And to put the Boogaloo Boys and the rest of them fools on notice, like, I got you. See, I got your back.
I got you.
You scratch my back. You scratch your back. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Ish.
Yeah.
Sort of. 100%. And they're silly enough that they'll believe it. They'll be like, no, I'm gonna get my check. Are you sure? Yep. Daddy Trump told me. Daddy Trump told me that the check was in the mail. I'm gonna get that money because he loves me and I love my daddy.
Thank you for the heart, me, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
We miss you.
Enrico Tarrio filed a lawsuit against the government. Yeah, I bet he did. He's a whack job.
Yep, they said he wanted 5 million as soon as he heard about the thing about the slush fund. He was like, "Yeah, give me 5 million of that."
With a side of fries.
All right, guys, it is 11 o'clock. I have to go see what happened to my son's car. Apparently, he went to the gym. Yeah, he went to the gym, and my daughter came in here. That's why I needed to take a break and be like, I need a couple minutes. We were trying to thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Oh, Michael just lighting us up. Frogs and shit, hearts.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. But yeah, he went to the gym. He came out. He started driving. Love you so much, Michael. Yeah, he started driving. Luckily, he was not out of the parking lot yet. And the entire tire just like kind of went, and he said the frame was like sitting on the ground. Yeah, so
monkey!
monkeys! There's
I see that
monkeys!
monkey!
They're
Love that
hugging
monkey.
monkeys. It was hugging monkeys because it's Monkey Mayhem. I was hanging with Brian. I think it was yesterday for a while. It might have been yesterday or day before. I was hanging out with Brian for a little bit. I don't know, Grammy. I don't know. I just like helped my daughter find a 24-hour tow truck driver, tow truck company. I said, call this one, tell him to call this one. I just got a text message a little bit ago that they, he's home with the tow truck, with his car or whatever.
You guys don't have AAA?
I don't know if I don't have a car. My mom, I think, has AAA, but she was sleeping. And my son has the New Jersey $1 a day insurance. Does anybody know what that is?
No.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, New Jersey is like a socialist, they're like a socialist country all on its own. So New Jersey has this $1 a day insurance policy that if you are on like state insurance, like Medicaid or any kind of like, it's the state insurance is like New Jersey Family Care is our Medicaid. And so if you are on that, or if you make under a certain amount of money, you can get $1 a day insurance, and it literally only costs $1 a day. So it's $30 a month for liability insurance. And so he's on that, and I don't think it has. It's really good, BJ. New Jersey, they're like, oh, it's a hellhole. Oh, it's garbage. New Jersey is one of the best states.
I tell people all the time that you have to use AAA one time to put it on auto renew and never even think about it. I have used it so many times. It saved me when I was heading to Ohio to see Danny and my engine blew. It saved me when my tire blew not that long ago. It's so convenient. It's so convenient. It pays for itself if you use it once.
Yeah, no, I know my mom, like I know if my mom would have been awake, she could have called I didn't have AAA, but she had AAA because I was in her household. It was way back when I first moved back in. I was like working, and I was like freaking an hour and a half away, all the way down like South Jersey. And she called them, and they came out in an hour and got me.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But yeah, I was on the live. I didn't I was like trying to do something, and she was sleeping. I'm like, you know what? I don't even know. I'm just gonna.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I would definitely have her and Lissa get it though, and it covers the insured, the person, not the car. So Lissa could be out with a friend. The friend's car breaks down. Alyssa's AAA will pay to get the car towed. Whatever car you are in, your policy covers you.
Yeah, I don't know if my mom had like a family plan, but yeah, they came and got me and the car was in my name. So I don't know. I don't know how she did that. I don't know what she did.
She may have said, well, I don't think you always had to show your ID to the tow truck driver. So she might have been like,
just
I'm stuck.
yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
stuck. And when they got there, they assumed that you were her. But now you have to verify that you have to be with the car
Mhm.
to verify that it's you. But, well, I hope that it's okay. Gosh, that sucks. It's always something.
Yeah, guys, I tell you all the time, like, you know, that like I think that if we started actually advertising the things we get, Republicans just say, oh, their taxes are atrocious. They're paying out the ass, the cost of living. Oh, it's a hellhole, right? But if they actually knew what we actually get for our taxes here, I think that people would be like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, I
What do
agree.
you mean? And especially like we have a progressive tax system. So we're not actually paying like the people who are getting the service aren't actually paying the taxes either because we have a progressive tax system. So until you make, I would say, get up into like the 70, 80,000 range, you're not really paying state taxes. I don't even know if I pay state taxes. Yeah. Like, I think I pay a little bit. I think I pay like 1,000 a year, maybe. I don't even think it's that. But we actually have like universal health care for people that make, I would say, if you're married and you make like 150,000 to 200,000 or less, or if you're single and you make up to like 50 or 60,000, you can get New Jersey Family Code. And it's completely free and it's medical and dental. Hey, Erica, thank you, love. But it's medical and dental. And then, you know, after that, like income threshold, you can still get it, but you would just have to pay a premium. Like me and my ex-husband and both of my kids were on it. We made about 65,000 a year. And this was back in like 2005. So that was pretty good money back then. And we were eligible for, our premium was $35 a month.
Wow.
And we paid $5 copay at the doctor and $1
Wow.
for our prescriptions.
Hey, Erica. Wow, that's great.
It's absolutely, it's amazing, right? And we actually, you know how you have Pell Grants, federal Pell Grants to go to school? Well, we actually have a tuition aid grant. So it's a Pell Grant, but just for New Jersey residents. So you have to be a New Jersey resident and you have to go to a New Jersey school. And you actually, a lot of times you'll get almost as much as a Pell Grant from the state. So you kind of like double dipping. So you get like your Pell Grant and then you'll get like, at least like, I would say if you're going full time and you make like 50,000 or less, I would say you get like $2,000 a semester in New Jersey tuition aid grant. But even if you make more than that, like it's like, you know, it's like a graduated thing. So like there's so many, there's like so many freaking benefits to living in New Jersey, guys. Like I can't even tell you. So don't let people tell you that it's like, oh, a liberal hellhole. And apparently Massachusetts and Minnesota is better than New Jersey. So I don't even know what. I think one of them's got like universal child care and the other one's, you know, I know Minnesota's got like free school lunch for everybody. I know New Jersey's got a free school lunch, but I think it's like it's income determinant. But yeah, it's like, you know, you know, you're paying all these really high property taxes and stuff. Yeah, but if you sat down, if you and I sat down and you live in a red state and you looked at how much of your money is going to healthcare and car insurance and childcare and school lunches, and then I looked at and property taxes, and then I showed you just my property tax receipt, and everything else I mentioned is taken care of by the state for those taxes. And for my state taxes, I bet you that I would be paying a third of what you're paying. And that's what people need to understand when we talk about things that are public option. Because think about the car insurance thing. That's basically a public option for poor people, right? For people that are poor, working poor, like working class. You know, the health insurance too, right? Is basically a public option.
All we hear about, like in Pennsylvania, is how much the taxes are in Jersey. We don't ever hear about what you get for them. It's just, oh, actually, we hear the schools are great. Taxes are so high in Jersey. Schools are great though. But that's all we hear.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding, that most people don't know what we get in the blue states, like why our taxes are higher, and they're not even that much higher. Like they're really not. And even if we lived in a state where, like, say, okay, so you pay taxes in New Jersey, you don't pay taxes in Delaware. Delaware is still a blue state, but it's a very small state. But still, right? Like I said, it's a progressive system where the more you make, the more you pay. So people that are at the lower end of the income spectrum aren't really paying that much in taxes because you can't afford it. Yeah, property taxes are super high. And the thing is, the closer you get to New York City, the higher they're going to be because you're paying for location, right? It's location, location, location. You're paying for access. Hey, where's TJ been? I just realized we haven't seen TJ in a while. Anyway.
I don't know. I didn't think about it till you said it.
Yeah, it's like people, I don't know. It's just, maybe he's taking a break. He's like, screw this TikTok thing.
Like y'all are a lot.
Yeah, y'all are too much.
Y'all are a lot.
Yeah, but it's like, guys, yeah, it's I think that if we need to start talking about money, I think that you know, these politicians and these rich people, right? These corporations and these wealthy people have benefited from this thing that we don't talk about money and politics and religion and all that stuff. They've benefited from that a lot. I really do believe that.
Yeah, that's why, you know, we don't need to talk about politics. We need to talk about policy.
Yeah,
and the benefits
in our
of
lives.
certain policies to the everyday person.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about how good policy is positively impacting people, they won't care what letter is next to your name.
Right, Carol. Wages. Yeah. We have to start talking about that openly and not having a stigma about it. How much do you make? How much do you make? Yeah, you should be getting paid more, and so should I. How much are you paying in your state for taxes? What are you getting for those taxes? We need to normalize that for real. What are you getting back for your taxes? And that's why I think a lot of these Republicans, why they dog out blue states so much, because they don't want people looking too close. They're like,
yep,
what? Wait, huh? Say that again. Because like I talk to you guys who are on the left, and you guys are shocked when you hear some of the stuff that we get here in New Jersey. So I know that they have no idea. They have no clue. They're not. It's like they probably would think I was making it up. And I know that we've talked about it a couple times in here, Stacey, where MAGA would come in and swear up and down that I was lying.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Lie and live.
Yeah, it sounds too good to be true, but that's what when you have blue state, you know, when you have blue, or I should say progressive or Democratic leadership, this is what you get. And the more progressive, the better your quality of life. New Jersey has a very high quality of life index, very high quality of life index. But yeah. All right, guys, it's 11:15. We had a really good night. Thank you so much. I don't know when we're coming back on Saturday night. I have to go get my, see who my debate partner is, because Emma's having another one of her, you know, debating what kind of pickles you like and and all that kind of stuff. And I told her I would ask around. She would like anybody else who wants to go in and have fun and participate to please sign up. I
will let you know if I'm going to be around. I may meet up with my cousin because
Mhm.
they must be doing a bunch of food at QVC this weekend and not a lot of fashion or beauty because I'm not booked. So I'll let you know.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so Saturday we just find out who our who our first round debate partner. Thank you, Lufu. Thank you, Carol and Gio. Love you guys. Is playing
Thank you
a
guys.
block of mine on Saturday. AI thing. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Marnie. So yeah, I'm just finding out who my first round debate partner is and what the topic is on Saturday. And I think Tuesday, or I think the following Saturday, I don't know. I'll have to get you guys the date of the actual debate night. But if you guys know anybody, or if you guys want to try it, it's really fun. It's just being goofy. Last time I had to argue Buffalo Wild Wings was better than Wingstop. So I mean, it was fun. It was fun to do, and it was fun to watch. Crickiana.
Drop down, Kikiana. Kikiana.
Yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, that was really fun. So we're gonna do it again. Hi, Trisha. We're closing up. We're saying goodnight, honey.
Trisha.
Miss you. Miss you so much. I know you're your schedule's been crazy and you are doing all the good things and helping people. So all right, guys. I think that we will maybe we'll come on Sunday, since we're not, like, tomorrow I'm not, because I'm doing something with my son. Saturday I will be on M's, hanging with M on her live. And so maybe we'll come and do a Sunday one. We'll see. We'll just do the new.
No, Trisha, 16-hour days. That was me, like, the early part of this week.
Yeah, Stacy has been burning it at both ends and on the sides.
It was brutal, but it's over.
On the side of the candle.
Yeah, we get through it, right?
Yeah, we do. Well, I started my little staycation today, so
Good for you.
I'm off tomorrow, Monday, of course, for Memorial Day. Then I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday, so I got like.
Yeah, I have to come in Monday night for my normal Monday show, but at least I get holiday pay, so.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I love that.
Not the end of the world.
Nope, not the end of the world. All right,
friends.
love you all. Much
Love y'all.
Thank you for being here. Thank you to our
Producers, our team, our mods.
And to our mods, Cheryl and Titus, and to our amazing producers, Marnie and Vera and Jen and Tammy. Love you guys.